million up for grabs in the Lotto Max. Good luck. Just remember our deal. Spaza Friday. You win, you have a party, you invite us. We win, we'll have a few. All right? It's a fair deal for everybody involved, because if you win that much, you better at least celebrate something. Come on. You got to, I think. Don't you? Got to be a minimum party, I would hope. I would hope. We got a loaded show for you today. It's going to be fantastic. Spec's going to join us a little bit earlier today because he is flying to Vancouver as the Oilers take on the Canucks tomorrow. The Canucks victorious last night in LA, although Brock Besser got hit right in the chops by Tanner Jeannot. Tanner Jeannot is going to get suspended. He's going to have a hearing. It's just a matter of how many games is he going to get. But Brock Besser, we'll see if he's going to be able to go tomorrow or not. The Oilers win in your two back of Vancouver. And despite somewhat of a slow pedestrian start, not terrible like last year, but not great either, you would still find yourself only 2 points back if you're the Edmonton Oilers, and you got some teams who can't score, similar to you and the Islanders and the Predators coming to town next week. And a victory on Saturday could kickstart a good week for the Edmonton Oilers. I would expect, well, we'll find out tomorrow if Matthias Janmark is going to play or not. If not, they'll recall either Kajula or Noah Philp. I'm guessing Philp. And away they go. Nugent Hopkins was back on this, so we might see Hopkins and Skinner switch. I don't really understand why. I didn't mind that. Nugent Hopkins line with Henrique and Brown. And Skinner's their best shooter. I'd like to give him a run with McDavid. If it's me, that's what I would do, but it ain't me. I'm not the coach, so we'll see. And also on the show today, Wanye's World. He'll join us. Craig Button join us at 4:20. We got Lowetide, Lorianne Muenzer as always. Also Dan Riccio from Vancouver, Sportsnet 650 to give us the Canucks lowdown things. Quinn Hughes off to a really good start for Vancouver. When he's not on the ice, they're not very good. So we'll touch on that. Also, Jeff Marek, who has joined the Nation Network. His new show, The Sheet, will be debuting in a few weeks. He will join us in the 5 o'clock hour today. As always, we'll take your thoughts. 833-401-1440. 833-401-1440. You can text us in our inbox. Your partner in power since 1975. EWEL.ca for all your electrical gear needs. As mentioned, the Oilers jetted out of town today. They are going to Vancouver and looking to kind of kickstart their season. Because let's be honest, it's not been awful, but it has not been where they would like it to be. They need to be more consistent. We'll see. Now, will tomorrow's game be as exciting as Thursday night football? What a game between the Ravens and the Bengals. The Bengal fans probably rather livid on the two non-calls on the 2-point convert. That was 2-point convert attempt that was unsuccessful. Probably should have got another chance at it, but they didn't. And man, the Ravens. Hey, they could, right now. Lamar Jackson, that guy has a hell of he is so fun to watch. But as great as Lamar Jackson is, their pass defense is equally ungreat. Oh my goodness. And it shows you you lose a defensive coordinator and all of a sudden the same defense doesn't look good because look at them. There's no reason that they should be this bad. They basically got no pass defense. They lost Mike McDonald who went to Seattle. And clearly they miss him. I don't know what they were doing on the one Jamar Chase touchdown. Unbelievable. But still, that was a highly entertaining game. And if you had Jamar Chase in fantasy, you're pretty happy. I have Joe Burrow. And I'm you know what? I was watching the game. And geez, Joe Burrow's having a great game. So Jamar, I didn't even look who I was playing. I'm playing the guy who has Jamar Chase. Are you kidding me? Joe Burrow puts up 46 points, and I'm trailing. because Jamar Chase had 264 receiving yards. We're in a PPR league, 11 receptions and 3 touchdowns. Joe Burrow throws for 428 yards and 4 touchdowns, but scores fewer points. What the hell's going on? But entertaining for sure. So, yeah, not great. So if you have Joe Burrow, but your opposition now, if you have Joe Burrow and Jamar Chase, do you have both Declan Kruger?
I do. I had the stack, Jason. 95 points after Thursday night football.
You won.
I know it's over.
Like
it's
over.
And you know what? I'll tell you, I needed this league because I was hitting the injury bug and I wasn't playing well. I wasn't coaching well, but I needed this one and I got it. Shout out Joe and Jamar.
Yeah. You know what? When you stack the two guys, it can pay dividends in weeks like this. It's also a risk in a playoff game where maybe they go up against a good defense and you're like average. Well, that sucks. But having both of them, yeah, that's a big day for sure. But man, that was an exciting game. I feel for Bengals fans. To me, there's 2 missed calls in that 2-point convert. Probably got to make it at that point. But way you go. And they end up losing. They can still make the playoffs, but it's going to be tough. It's going to be difficult for them. The Ravens' pass defense, though, it's unbelievable how bad they are. Like, if you're a Ravens fan, as great as Lamar is, you can have no faith that you can go into KC and slow down Mahomes because the Chiefs' defense is good. You're not going to score as many points against the Chiefs' defense as you did against the Bengals. You just won't. So they got to figure it out. You go from the number 1 ranked defense to what they are now. It's stunning to me. Stunning. Also in the NHL. Now, it is early, folks, but here's the names of your top 10 5-on-5 goal scorers early in the NHL season. Tage Thompson leads. He has 9. Now, Tage Thompson scored 47 goals before, so not a shocker. Nikita Kucherov, he's tied for second with 8. No, not a surprise again. This guy was unbelievable score. He's had 128 points twice in his career. Not many guys can say that. So he's got 8. Then you have Connor McMichael from the Washington Capitals and Jack Roslovic from the Carolina Hurricanes. Now, Roslovic is going for the Cy Young right now. He's got 8 goals, 1 assist, 5-on-5. McMichael's 8-3. Both their teams are lighting it up. Now, they're getting more opportunities for sure, but they're not playing a ton. But they're playing well. And if you're in fantasy hockey, you might want to be looking at Connor McMichael and Jack Roslovic. Then you got Alex Lafayette in LA. He's got 12 points, 5-on-5. Never mind 7 goals. 12 points. He is tied in points in the entire NHL, 5-on-5. He's tied for 6th. Not bad at all. So there's another guy that if you were looking at LA, I'm not sure many people would have thought, hey, Alex Lafayette. Now, you might have thought Alexis Lafreniere, right? You might have thought he would do it. But it's Alex Lafayette who has 7 goals, 12 points, 5-on-5 so far this season for the LA Kings. Fantastic start for him. Then you got Barbashev, Cole Caulfield, Matthew Nyes, Ryan Donato. Now, Donato's got 6 goals, no assists. So, it's obviously not sustainable. And then Willie Nylander and Alex Ovechkin, those guys you're not surprised are in your top 10 5-on-5 scoring. It's actually technically 11 because those guys are tied from 6th through 11th. But Connor McMichael, Jack Roslovic, Alex Lafayette, they're all in top 5-on-5 goal scorers early on. Now, how many of them will continue and remain there is a valid question, right? You've got Austin Matthews placed on IR today, so he misses at least tonight and tomorrow for the Toronto Maple Leafs. That'll be 3 games for him. Upper body injury. I don't want to say what it is, but as I've said many times, Austin Matthews, great goal scorer. But and I don't go by games played. Games played is misleading because when you've got to play way more seasons to get the same amount of games played, it doesn't matter. If I look through their first 8 years, Ovi and Matthews were pretty much tied in goals. Now the difference is, yes, Matthews played a fewer games, but Ovechkin in his first 8 games didn't miss many games, and he hasn't missed many games since. And if you're a believer in Toronto that Matthews had a chance to catch Ovechkin, that chance because slimmer by the day because he's just more injury prone. Not terrible amount, but 10, 12 games every year, that adds up. It just does. So that you got to score at a much better rate all the time. That's going to be hard to do, especially when you look at what Obi did in his 30s as a multiple 50-goal scorer. He could score 50 this year. God, I hope he does. It'd be unbelievable. You set the record not only for most goals in a season, in a career. You could also stand alone for 10 seasons of 50 goals for Alex Ovechkin. Phenomenal. So we look forward to that. 833-401-1440. Hey, guys, KC can't throw deep anyways. Everything Mahomes does this year is dink and dunk. Doesn't matter. He'll go over the top. Did you not see last week Montana to Rice? Did you see the DeAndre Hopkins catch downfield? Right before his touchdown. He can go downfield if he has to. Now, you're right. He's not Jamar Chase. But the Ravens can't stop anybody downfield. Doesn't matter who it is. They'll spread the field. All I know is if you got to go into KC with that defense, you got no chance. Just say it right now. You have no chance. Hey, guys, I really wish my Ravens would have gotten Lattimore. There's hoping Trey White can help us out, I guess, from Dinocracy. I like that name, Dino. Well, here's the thing. And Declan and I were talking about this before we got on air. I don't even know if it's a personnel issue. Because look at the guys they have. To me, it's completely systemic for them. I don't like at all how they're playing. Now, last night you had some blown coverages for sure. So I don't think there's any way that. So I don't know if the verbiage is too confusing for the players. But look at their secondary. There's no way, Declan Kruger, that their secondary should be this bad.
No, you just look at the names there. Kyle Hamilton, highly touted draft prospect out of Notre Dame, great safety, plays the ball very well. Marlon Humphrey, who's been one of the best shutdown man coverage corner guys. There is no way with the talent they have, and I just listed two guys. I didn't even go through the rest. There's no way with those two guys there. One who plays great, who reads the ball very well in the air and plays great zone coverage, is a high safety. One who, when he's at the top of his game, can lock down the side of a field with his man coverage. There is no way you should be having a pass defense as poor as this. And it goes to something you said before the show. That is the importance of coaching. And sometimes people underrate it. And this is example A of how valuable Mike McDonald was to that Ravens defense.
Yeah, not good at all. So we'll see if it can get better. Hey, guys, the Oilers forwards don't back check. That's why the defense looks bad and they make mistakes because they're outnumbered and then the goaltending ends up looking bad. Look at all the great A's the Oilers gave up. Team defense starts from the forwards, from Richard. Well, here's the thing, Richard. The Oilers' 5-on-5 defense isn't their issue. Are people complaining about 5-on-5 defense being the issue? It's not. Special teams is, yes. Penalty kill, brutal. The Oilers' 5-on-5 defense, not remotely even it's not even a top 3 issue for sure. Probably not even top 5. I don't mind their 5-on-5 defensive play. Hasn't been a big issue. They don't give up a lot of goals. They don't actually give up a lot of shots. So I don't buy that at all. Just look at the numbers. They're getting murdered on the penalty kill. Murdered. And they can't score. So that to me is the much bigger issue for the Edmonton Oilers. Hey, Greg, are you concerned that the Oilers play such a passive game that they won't be able to turn it up come playoff time? Well, I don't know if do the Oilers play a passive game? They have the puck. You're right. They don't hit a lot of people. So if you're talking about physical contact, sure. But they don't have a lot of guys who have ever played that way. Now, Ryan McLeod didn't hit anybody. So the lack of hits aren't from him not being here. Right? He was fast, sure, good skater, but he wasn't physical. I look at, Fogle, Holloway. Holloway would finish checks, no question. But you know who they're missing is Evander Kane. Do you know who's coming back in January or February? Evander Kane. So he will help in that regard, no question. Could they use another forward? Sure, but I think Podkolzin is actually more physical than Holloway. So he replaces Holloway. Kane comes back in. Skinner's as physical as McLeod was. Right? Arvidsson to Fogle. Now, Arvidsson isn't as body contact physical as Fogle, but I think he might be cheaper and dirtier. Right? Watch Arvidsson stick, guys. right? So he plays with a little bit of an edge. The Oilers aren't going to hit a lot of people. I get it. But I'm not sure that that's costing them games when I watch. Like, their inability to finish and their inability to kill a penalty and their inability to score on the power play right now are much bigger issues for me. So I want to see when those things are functioning, are people even going to be noticing the hits? You might a bit. But lots of guys up their physical game come playoff time. I don't think when the Oilers lost to Florida in 7 games was due to a lack of physical play. Because remember, they should have won game 1 and they didn't. Right? Like, if you look at the nightmares of losing the Stanley Cup Finals in 2006 and 2024, both game 1s, the Oilers outplayed the opponents and lost both times, and then played catch up. Obviously, played more catch, and they ended up being down 2-0 both series. Obviously, ended up being 3-0. Came back to force game 7 both times, but your odds are obviously low when you're down 0-2 and 0-3. But I'm not. It's just like, I know everybody keeps repeating it. I'm not going to do it. The Oilers' speed that they're slower. Then what? Just explain to me and answer the question. If they're slower, why do they have the puck more, and why are they out shooting the opponents 5-on-5? If they're so much slower, honestly. I just want to know, do you know the Edmonton Oilers lead the NHL? They have the most 5-on-5 shots, 395. And shots against, they have a 301, which ranks them middle of the pack. So as far as fewest, it has them 14th. So they're first, they have the most shots for, and 14th fewest shots against. Right, they got the second best shot for differential 5-on-5 in the NHL. Only Carolina is better. So please, can someone answer me why you think they're slower? Because, they don't have Ryan McLeod. So what? How is it impacting them? That's all I want to know. How's it impacting them? How are they out shooting teams by 94 shots 5-on-5 in 14 games? Right, only Carolina is better. And like I pointed out yesterday, late in the show, if you want to know actually the biggest reduction in speed has come from Connor McDavid. Like, he hasn't reached those top end speeds this season yet. Now, fatigue, battle injury, I don't know. Our team's not letting him wind up. I have no idea. I'd have to dig a little bit deeper, go shift by shift to see. But I know people keep bringing it up. And I know because you read it and somebody said it, and they're losing. Okay, that's got to be it. But ask yourself and then tell me the answer. If they're slower, how are they that much better in possessing the puck and out shooting the opponents if they're slower? Because shouldn't they lose puck battles? Lose races to the puck? They might lose the odd one, but clearly it's not impacting the overall game. So I don't buy the speed being a factor at all. Quick break. When we return, Spec will join us on the Jason Gregor Show on Sports 1440, Oilers Nation, YouTube, and Facebook, presented by PlayAlberta.ca.
At Papa John's, better is our specialty. Try our butter chicken pizza, the meats, the works, garden fresh, and more. Each special in its own way, just like you. With that ooey, gooey, crispy, crunchy taste, fresh, never frozen dough, and quality topping. Special has never tasted better. And so, for a limited time, get any large specialty pizza for just $17.99 with promo code LG1799 at papajohns.ca. Better ingredients, better pizza. Better get you some Papa John's.
Legacy Heating and Cooling jingle auditions, take one for Gene Principe. Are you ready, Gene?
Ready. I'm not just here to make a thermo a couple of bucks. I'd never just microphone it in.
Take one.
Call Legacy. Call Legacy.
Nice.
Boom. I'm a musical genius.
Legacy's going to love this for furnace season.
What's not to love with no interest and no Principe payments for 1 year?
Are you always like this?
Yep. Unlike a furnace, I have no filter.
Legacy Heating and Cooling.
The Canada-wide clearance is on at GMC. Get a $7,500 cash credit on 2024 Sierra 1500 Crew Cab Elevation models. With Sierra's 13.4-inch diagonal premium GMC infotainment system with Google built-in compatibility, available off-road package with hill descent control, plus an available 3-liter Duramax diesel engine, you can take the road less traveled and try new things, like fishing or whitewater rafting. I should have gone fishing. Ask your GMC dealer for details.
Silent Rides is one of Alberta's premier bus charter companies with state-of-the-art motor coaches. We provide our customers with the safest and most reliable ground transportation. Our seatbelt-equipped buses have become the preferred carrier for many local sports teams, tours, corporate outings, and other various travel across Western Canada. For more information and to request a quote, contact Ted Nakamura at 780-940-0880 or visit silentrides.ca.
Brand new to Sports 1440 this hockey season is the Cross Mitsubishi pregame show with your host, Andrew Walker. Get expert analysis and so much more before every game this year. Sports 1440, Edmonton Sports Station.
Ain't it beautiful? There's electricity in the air. Carrie Dahl here for Volvo of Edmonton, where the Volvo XC40 and C40 fully electric vehicle is now in stock, along with a great selection of Volvo T8 hybrid models. Experience the trusted Volvo quality and technology to power into tomorrow at Volvo Cars Edmonton, Canada's only 12-time Volvo Excellence Award winners. Experience the difference.
Volvo of Edmonton.
Hi everyone, Dennis from Weiss Johnson. Fall is here and now's the time to get your furnace serviced before the mercury plummets. There's nothing worse than furnace failure when it's 40 below. So why not be proactive and book a fall inspection today? We'll do a thorough checkup and provide any necessary service to ensure cozy comfort for your family all winter long. Or if it's time to upgrade to a brand new energy efficient furnace, we can help you there too. Visit WJHeats.com today.
As an Albertan, you expect the challenge of icy roads. But what you may not expect is Cross Mitsubishi helping you gear up for winter with winter tires. And now, for a very limited time, you'll receive a set of winter tires for free with your purchase. Don't wait. This offer won't last long. All from the home of the 10-10-10 warranty and Western Canada's largest 2024 Mitsubishi inventory. Cross Mitsubishi. Get your free winter tires now and drive your ambition. 9605 34th Avenue and at crossmitsubishi.ca.
Portions of this hour brought to you by Papa John's. May the better team win, and may you eat better pizza. Order an extra large New York style one-topping pizza for only $17.99 today at papajohns.ca.
From puck drop to kickoff, it's the Jason Gregor Show on Sports 1440.
Presented by PlayAlberta.ca, Alberta's only regulated online gambling website.
So Friday, welcome back. Jason Gregor, Declan Cougar, Sports 1440, Oilers Nation, YouTube and Facebook. Connor Halley will be back Tuesday as he has his special time with his new son, Benjamin, who was a week old today for young Benjamin. Or can we call him Benny yet? I don't know. What's a ruling on that? I might have to come up with a nickname quick. I wonder how many Charger onesies he has already. That's probably my big question. So congrats to the Halleys as they enjoy some special time with their newborn son, and everything's going good for the con man. So and of course Ash is doing great. So she obviously did a little bit more work here last Friday. But let's not downplay job of the dad, okay? Job of the dad, and like, breathe, honey, breathe. You got to try to keep him calm. I'm saying that somewhat facetiously. Gents, now, hey, maybe you're like Struds. Maybe you passed out almost, and the nurses had to take care of you as much as they did your wife. Hopefully not. But it's fun times. If you've had a child and you've been lucky enough to be in the room and witness the entire experience, any parent will tell you it's obviously exciting, nerve-wracking, depending on how it goes, and sometimes longer or shorter. So either way, they made it through, and that's great. Now, let's get to the spec report brought to you by GS Construction Underground Infrastructure. They're like the Lamar Jackson of underground infrastructure. Exciting, quick, reliable. That's GS Construction. As Mark Spector joins us as he will be jetting off to Vancouver for the Oilers-Canucks game tomorrow night. Spec, how you doing?
Good. Thanks for working me in early, Jade.
Hey, no problem, man. No problem. It just keeps you out of the bar in the airport. So, I apologize for that. I know you like to get after a little bit earlier than usual. I was looking up some numbers on Connor McDavid. So, because everybody's talking about how the Oilers are a slower team, and I would argue, I don't know if speed's that much of an issue, considering how dominant they are 5-on-5, out shooting the opposition. Only the Carolina Hurricanes have a better shot against differential at 5-on-5. So I'm not sure speed's a thing. But you know who actually is slower, noticeably, is Connor McDavid. So here's the last 3 years. So McDavid's top speed in 22 was 24.14 miles an hour. And he had 573 bursts of 20 miles an hour plus, which is an average of 7.16 per game. In 2023, his top speed was basically the same, 24.16. And he had 6.57 bursts of 20 miles an hour per game. Last season, his top speed, slightly higher, 24.19. Fewer bursts of 20 plus at 6.01. This season, his top speed is only 22.97, and he's doing it at an average of 5.8 times per game. So his top speed's down over a mile per hour and a bit, and averaging even fewer per game. And so I think sometimes when people talk about the Oilers' speed, it's because you're not seeing McDavid at his top speed that we're used to. And so I think that's making other people think, well, the whole team's slow, when the numbers, they might be slower because Ryan McLeod's not here, but it's not impacting their ability to control the game 5-on-5.
Well, I mean, the biggest thing is, like, in all the analytics, what we have really learned is shot share is a huge indicator. It's not everything, but shot share is a big deal. It really tells you who's getting what done. There's outlier teams. Like, remember those little Kings teams that just shot from everywhere all the time? And to me, half of those shots were turnovers, frankly. But I get what you're saying. To me, when I look at these Oilers, if their shot share is good and they've got the puck, and Chris Knobloch told us yesterday, we've got the puck more than any team in the league. And that was in response to being, I think they're the last team in the league in hits and they're fifth last in blocks. And he said, yeah, that's because we got the puck all night. So great. Have the puck all night. I don't have an answer for you on McDavid's speed. I don't see any reason why he should be slower today than he was a year ago. He's only 28 years old. It's not like he's, 30 or 35. But I'm with you, Jay. We can look at the guys they lost. Fogel's really fast, right? Holloway skates really well. McLeod was really fast. Those are three guys that left the lineup. You're going to be slower unless you replace them with three speedsters, which they did not. So they got to be a slower team than last year. Is that the reason they're not playing well, though? I don't think that's the reason they're not playing well.
Yeah, I mean, Podkolzin's a pretty good skater. I have no issue with how Podkolzin skates.
So they replaced him with one guy.
Yeah, and
but let's face it, they lost some speed, man, and they did not replace him with a bunch of fast, speedy young guys.
I don't. But again, Ryan McLeod was fast as hell, Spec, and did nothing with it. We'd wheel through the neutral zone, and that was great, but it didn't lead to offense. It didn't lead to a lot of great chances. So all I'm saying is, while they might be slower, are they like Jeff Skinner and Arvidsson are quicker in short spaces down low than Fogel or McLeod. McLeod, when he got going high speed, it was like top 10 fast guys in the league. But quickness, it's a different type of speed, quicker, but it's not impacting their ability to control the puck. If they would score goals, no one would be talking about their speed.
Oh, no question. Absolutely. There's a lot of things we wouldn't be talking about if they were scoring at any. I mean, I think they're the 27th ranked team offensively in the league. I got a piece up on sportsnet.ca today. I rattled a couple of cages there of some guys on a team that seems to be holding back and waiting for the games to get more important somehow. But there's no question that, listen, we wouldn't be talking about Skinner if they scored an extra goal a game. We wouldn't be talking about Bouchard near as much if they scored an extra goal a game. There's a lot of stuff we wouldn't be talking about if the guys that are paid to get some points here would start getting those points.
Yeah, for sure. You look at the we won't know until tomorrow on Janmark, unless you got some inside info, but they didn't skate today, so I guess we won't know tomorrow. And it looked like based on practice, Nugent Hopkins and Skinner had swapped back. They're taking on the Canucks tomorrow, who won in LA last night. The Canucks have been a team that, Elias Pettersson's not producing at all for them. But Quinn Hughes is playing great. And, it'll be interesting to see the Hughes-McDavid battle, because I'm guessing we'll see a lot of Hughes against him tomorrow.
Hughes is, you know what? He's turning into such a good player, man. Like, they showed a clip of him walking the blue line in that LA game. He looked like Sergei Zubov, feet outside the zone, puck inside the zone, absolute control going east and west. All of a sudden he's going north again. Like, he's an unbelievable talent. And I think, did he not just get to, what was the figure he hit the other day behind only Bobby Orr and Paul Coffey? He set some kind of a milestone, the third.
Yeah. Third fastest to 300 assists. 300
assists. Thank you. So, listen, pal, you don't do that by mistake. Like, this guy is elite. So, yes, him and McDavid, for sure. He didn't, and I think that when you're the Edmonton Oilers, let's face it, the Oilers are a healthy team. They got everybody back now that McDavid's playing. I mean, Mark's out, but maybe. But he's a fourth-line guy. You're playing a team that's quite possibly not going to have Brock Besser and does not have Thatcher Demko. And Pettersson is MIA and has been for a few months. I don't see any reason why the Edmonton Oilers shouldn't be taking advantage of that tomorrow night. If they were playing Edmonton and Edmonton didn't have Draisaitl and didn't have Skinner, we'd be making all kinds of excuses in this town if they lost that game, wouldn't we?
Yeah, maybe. Hey, Spec, here's a fun thing for all the people who thinks the Oilers are slower.
Okay.
Just because I like to back it up with actual numbers. So sure. The Edmonton Oilers this season in the NHL, 20-mile-an-hour plus bursts by team. Colorado first, 451. LA second, 366. Edmonton third, 363. These are top 10 teams. Guess where the Edmonton Oilers were last season in bursts. Second, what? Behind Colorado. So everybody too often at times in sports, people get a narrative in Edmonton and they repeat it and they repeat it and they repeat it. The Oilers aren't much slower. People need to stop saying it. It's not true. It's not true. The funny thing is their fastest guy is actually a little bit slower. For him, a mile an hour is quite a bit slower, and that's what he is so far.
Yeah, that still is. I mean, I guess let's say small sample size. Let's see what happens here. But that's an example of, like, we're trying to think of all the reasons why Edmonton hasn't found their game, right? And there's numerous ones, but one of them is for sure their best guy has not been dominant. And
yes,
Connor McDavid, man, it's like driving behind a truck on the highway. Like, there's a draft on this guy. When he gets going, everybody else gets better and gets pulled along behind. And he's just been okay, So I think you have to say that's not an excuse for Evan Bouchard doing what he's doing defensively. Like, that has no relation to Connor McDavid. That's no excuse for Skinner letting in a bad goal 2 out of 3 nights, right? That's got nothing to do with McDavid. But when we're talking about a team that's averaging 2.36 goals a night and not 3 the way we're used to, that's got a lot to do with McDavid and bringing everybody along with him.
Yeah, for sure. So, and you know what? There's other guys that got to score, yes. But Connor McDavid's offense is down a lot. And so it's going to impact your team. It just is. And when he gets going, and more importantly, when their power play gets going, then you now I don't know with chicken and the egg. Does the 5-on-5 get going first, and that helps the power play? Does the power play get going first, and that helps the 5-on-5? I think that's a great question. But I do know that they start drawing a few more penalties that will at least get the power play a chance to get some more opportunities, because the more opportunities you have, then because if you're a 25% power play spec, but you only get 1 chance a game, you're only scoring once every 4 games. Whereas if you get 3 or 4, then all of a sudden you're scoring, once every game and once every game and a half.
And a lot of this is why a team, whether you like it or not, when you got a player as good as McDavid, you become McDavid dependent, right? Like, he's the guy that draws the most penalties, and when he's not playing well, all of a sudden you're not drawing him. He's the guy that stirs the drink on the power play. Let's face it, right? He enters the zone. Everything runs pretty much through Connor McDavid. He's the one putting it on Draisaitl's tape. If he's not going great, your whole power play is not the same anymore. So, you don't want to say you're dependent on one guy, but when your one guy is as crucial to the game and is as good and as dominant as Connor McDavid is, it's inevitable. You become dependent on Connor McDavid being not just good, but being great. And right now, he's just good.
Yeah. And so I think he'll be fine, but it is something that you look forward. Maybe like Vancouver, there's, the players they all talked about who's their biggest rival. Right? Remember they were asked in that clip, and a lot of them said Vancouver. So you know what? Maybe this is the game. I thought the Vegas game was pretty intense. I actually liked long stretches of that game. The last minute was awful, as Matthias Ekholm said, and maybe even the last 5 minutes, Vegas kind of took over a little bit. But you know what? This should be an emotional test for the Oilers. They're a better road team than home team this season by far. So we'll see if that jumpstarts them. It's also a Hall of Fame weekend, Spec, and
yes,
you look at some guys. Pavel Datsyuk, Jeremy Roenick are going in. Shea Weber in the player. Colin Campbell. I'm not the biggest fan of that especially this story about him trying to influence refs in games where his kid played. Like, I'm sorry, that's to me a hard one to overlook. Yeah, I get that he did a lot for the game for a long time, but that was pretty brutal, and that's on record. That's not a myth. That's on record. So, but the Datsyuk, Roenick, and Shea Weber as players, and I guess David Poile as well. What's your thoughts there?
Well, listen, it's when you've been around the game as long as Dave Poile, he's done a million things. Like, I want to say this: you got to be good at what you do to get in the Hall of Fame, but there's also some longevity involved in it. Did Colin Campbell have a bad day or have a bad week or whatever once in a 50-year span in the game? Yeah, he did. Okay, he had a bad week. Maybe he made a crappy decision. Whatever happened, the guy's been helping hockey here for 45 years or 50 years. So, David Poile, same thing. Pavel Datsyuk, oh my God, one of the best, craftiest, most skilled players ever to put blades on here. Like, unbelievable player. So, Jeremy Roenick, like a really, really, really top player, but an American and one of the leading American guys that's a bit of the father of this next group of the Hughes brothers and all that are stalking our game with fantastic players. America puts out way better players today and more of them than they did 20 years ago when Roenick showed up. So I got no quibble with any of these guys. They're all good hockey people. None of them are just walking in the door here, man. They've all paid their dues. They've done it for a long time, and the Hall of Fame's great. And don't forget our buddy Scotty Burnside going in the Elmer Ferguson, who's also spent most of a lifetime writing hockey.
Yeah, also Chrissy Wendell goes in as well. And also Natalie Darwitz is going in as well. So congratulations to all of them. Big class. It's Pavel Datsyuk's a magician to me. He's
great.
He's fantastic that he's in. And I thought Shea Weber, dominant player. It's too bad he got hurt. Fantastic story about how annoyed he was when him and Poile are going in together. But there was a lot of anger when he got traded originally from Nashville. That was a great article I saw out there. I don't know if you read it yesterday or not, but it was fantastic. And I look at Weber. It's too bad he got banged up, but when I watch it, and it's not a knock on these guys. I think they all deserve to get in. Roenick was an outstanding player when he played, but I watched him go in, and I still don't understand why Alex Mogilny isn't in. Like, who did he piss off to get overlooked all the time? I don't understand it.
Yeah, it's subjective, and there's always an Alex Mogilny. And if you go to baseball, there's a couple of guys that no one can figure out why they're not in the baseball hall. And I don't have a reason for you. I mean, in my books, Alex Mogilny, he should be in the Hall of Fame. Don't even start making comparables. He's got better numbers than a whole bunch of guys that are in there already. I don't have an answer for you. The Alex Mogilny question is a head scratcher for me, and probably got to be driving him crazy, I would think. No.
Yeah, I would think. Well, yeah, it's a good question, right? Like, I don't like. Do you ever? I guess maybe if you're like one of the great players, you'd think about, hey, I'm going to the Hall of Fame. But I don't know. I don't know how that works. If a guy like every year, maybe when it comes up, he's thinking, hey, I'm going to get a call or not. But I don't know.
Yeah, I would think so. If you're Alex Mogilny, you probably are a player of that import. I mean, for some guys, probably not. But I know in baseball, there's guys that were right sour when they never got in. But baseball players are generally more sour than hockey players anyhow. So I guess we should expect
that. Yeah, that's fair. Spec, enjoy the game. What's your expectations tomorrow night for the Edmonton? Are we going to see a little playoff intensity in Vancouver?
Well, maybe, I just keep looking for a team that plays with some emotion and a team that really digs in here. Like, at home was right. For 50 minutes, they played against, Vegas is a damn good team, and the Oilers played awesome against them, right? That game was a coin flip for 50 minutes. Come on. So it's not like they're playing terrible, right? It's not like they're always playing terrible. They go into overtime with a good team like Carolina. They're not falling flat in their face like they did a year ago today when they were 2-9-1. But there's something missing, right? There's something missing. There's a flair. There's an energy. There's an offensive edge that's missing. It's just not there. And does it start with Connor McDavid? I don't know. Jeff Skinner skates around. I don't see a lot there. Ryan Nugent-Hopkins, I don't see anything there. Evan Bouchard's got to get moving. Zach Hyman's had a million chances. It's not going in very often, a little bit more lately. Arvidsson, when does the real Arvidsson show up here? Like, there's just they're about 80% for me, Jason.
Okay.
And I'm waiting for a team that I look down on from the press box and go, okay, that's 100% there. Win or lose, there's 100% of a team there. Will we see it in Vancouver? I sure hope so.
Spec, have a great day. We will chat with you tomorrow. Hey, I hope so too. I love to, some little extra zest, a little bit extra snarl. And hey, you know what? If the Oilers fight, they'll win. Figure it out. So somebody should drop the mitts on the first shift. That's guaranteed win for the Oilers.
I got you, pal. I'm never turning a good scrap down.
All right. Have a good one.
All right, man.
It's Mark Spector, the Spec Report brought to you by GS Construction. We got a lot of texts coming in on the speed of the Oilers. We'll get to all of that. We also have Lori Ann Muenzer and more on the Jason Gregor Show. Sports 1440, Oilers Nation, YouTube and Facebook, presented by PlayAlberta.ca.
Today, on November 8th, we honor National Indigenous Veterans Day. A member of the Mississaugas of the Credit First Nation, Lieutenant Cameron Brandt was one of the first enlistees soon after war was declared in 1914. Lieutenant Brandt was killed, leading his men in a counterattack at the Second Battle of Ypres on April 24th, 1915. He was 28. Lest we forget.
Gateway Toyota treats us like we're precious gems.
Because that's what we are.
Every vehicle purchased from Gateway Toyota includes enrollment into their GEM program. It stands for Gateway Exclusive Membership.
And it gives you 5-year access to over $2,500 in benefits.
Free oil changes.
Free tire and windshield repair.
Free car washes.
Even an annual detailing.
You'll also get special discounts, trade-in bonuses, and referral rewards.
I feel like a gem.
At Gateway Toyota, just off Calgary Trail at Ellerslie Road.
I take possession of my commercial space in 3 months. I need lighting. I need a fire alarm. I need data. I need a generator. I need panels.
Sounds like a job for the men and women of Action Electrical.
Projects team reporting. We design, build, and construct all the electrical systems for your projects. Need everything to work right? Get the Action Electrical project team on your site.
Facing an electrical menace? Call the men and women of Action. Operating throughout Alberta at actionelectrical.net.
Legacy Heating and Cooling jingle auditions take one for Gene Principe. Are you ready, Gene?
Ready. I'm not just here to make a thermo a couple of bucks. I'd never just microphone it in.
Take one.
Call Legacy. Call Legacy.
Nice.
Boom. I'm a musical genius.
Legacy's going to love this for furnace season.
What's not to love? With no interest and no Principe payments for 1 year.
Are you always like this?
Yep. Unlike a furnace, I have no filter.
Legacy Heating and Cooling.
At Papa John's, better is our specialty. Try our butter chicken pizza. The meats, the works, garden fresh, and more. Each special in its own way, just like you. With that ooey, gooey, crispy, crunchy taste, fresh, never frozen dough, and quality toppings. Special has never tasted better. And so, for a limited time, get any large specialty pizza for just $17.99 with promo code LG1799 at papajohns.ca. Better ingredients, better pizza. Better get you some Papa John's. John's.
Sports 1440 is ready to talk hockey with you after every game this season. The post-game show with Andrew Walker is brought to you by the Ridge Social Eatery in St. Albert. Tune in after the next game.
Hockey is back, and Play Alberta, Alberta's #1 sportsbook and official partner of the Edmonton Oilers, has you covered with bigger offers, boosted odds, live betting, player props, and more. New to Play Alberta, new players now receive $200 in free bets just for signing up. You already play? Get a $10 free bet for every $100 you bet every week all season long. Visit playalberta.ca and make your picks today. Bonus terms and conditions apply.
Hey, it's Scott from Sherwood and St. Albert Dodge. I think it's safe to say we are all paying attention to interest rates these days. If so, you'll like this. We have 0% financing available on Jeep Compass, Wrangler, Grand Cherokee, and Wagoneer. 0% on the Dodge Durango and the all-new Hornet. And the rates on Ram 1500, Ram 2500, and Ram 3500, you guessed it, 0%. Are you picking up the theme? We have 0% financing on virtually all 2024 new models with hundreds to choose from. Why pay interest? Instead, come get a new vehicle at St. Albert and Sherwood Dodge.
When was the last time your electricity and natural gas provider made you feel like this? Low rates, no strings attached, year-round perks, and local energy experts who always have your back. With Encore by EPCOR. Find that carefree energy feeling at encore.epcor.com/carefree.
Customers are free to purchase natural gas or electricity services from a retailer of their choice. For a list of retailers, visit ucahelps.alberta.ca or call 310-4822 toll-free.
Portions of this hour brought to you by On the Rocks. Watch every Oilers game at OTR with $5.25 Molson Canadian, $5 Pink Whitney shots, and 60-cent wings. Plus, play Oilers Score and win for On the Rocks gift cards. Oilers Hockey at OTR. Book your table today, Jasper Ave and 118.
It's not just another pair of glasses. It's the Jason Gregor Show. Thanks for checking out Edmonton Sports 1440.
Presented by PlayAlberta.ca, Alberta's only regulated online gambling website.
Welcome back, Jason Gregor. Declan Kruger with you on Sports 1440, Oilers Nation, YouTube, and Facebook. Also X, sports1440.ca. Thanks as always for watching. The Oilers, of course, on their way to Vancouver. They'll take on the Canucks tomorrow night. Then they are back home and they have the Islanders and the Nashville Predators next Tuesday and Thursday. Two of the only few teams in the NHL that score less than the Edmonton Oilers. So maybe you get a win in Vancouver and, maybe a little bit more intense game like we saw against Vegas, and maybe that spurs things on. We'll see. So it's a short 2-game homestand next week, and then they're on the road for games Saturday in Toronto and Monday, Tuesday in Montreal and Ottawa. Then they're back home, and you got Minnesota and the Rangers. And they got a rare 5-day break at the end of November. And, it might be good for some practice time. We'll see. And then they're back out on the road. So it's a weird November where home for 2, on the road, home, on the road. You don't get an extended time in either spot. Let's bring in Lorianne Muenzer, our weekly Friday guest. Of course, Olympic gold medalist. Also, she is a mental coach for pro athletes where it helps people in their jobs in different areas. Lorianne, today, because I was asked a question. Obviously, I don't have the answer to it, so I thought, hey, I'll ask Lorianne about it. Mental focus for young players. And, they're talking about how, because, and I asked the coach, said, like, my personal opinion was, I think you might be overthinking what you think these young 12-year-olds should be doing before a game as far as mental focus, right? Yep. So, because he said, well, we're not mentally focused. I'm like, well, what does that even mean? And have you asked each individual kid? Because every kid's going to be different. You can't just have one thing for your whole team. It's not going to work, correct?
Totally correct. Yeah. Everybody's going to be a little bit different. You're different. I'm different. The producing team is different. And if you can get to know each athlete, what makes them tick, what makes them happy, what, throws them right off their game and, kind of makes their head explode. You can actually do a lot of really good there, because if you happen to see them going a little sideways, you can start reeling them in or bring them in or ask them a really good question that they just go, oh, and they tend to snap out of it really quick. And there's got to be a connection there. What I see a lot of athletes that are younger that are being coached is they're being talked to and talked to and talked to, and then they tune out. It's just they stop listening, and it's like, because it's too much and there isn't a point to what's being said. And if you can break it down into simpler terms, and believe it or not, just give them one thing to focus on, they're going to be light years ahead. And then if you practice that one thing a few times, then add on the next part. But the question is, can the coach break down the drills? Can the coach break down the games and explain it so that there's this great connection with each athlete? And then can the athletes connect with each other so that, it's kind of like you raise the level, then I raise the level, then you raise the level. And it's just this game of up, 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 up. And there's an energy with that, because if one of the athletes goes south, or they don't have a great game, they don't have a great shot, it can really pull the whole team down. But it's like, okay, you give them, the sandwich, right? You say what's good, you give the feedback versus criticism, and then you finish it off with, hey, we could do this, or you could do this. And you take the level up to the next level or the next two levels.
Now, looking at, because focus is going to be very different. Some people naturally are better at focusing than others. That's just a fact, right? And I'm sure you can train it and maybe improve it. And so when you look at, because I always, when someone says, hey, our kids aren't focused, I'm like, well, what does that even mean? Right? Like, that's a pretty broad conversation. So if it's more so like you do a few drills, and a simple thing for hockey, let's just use hockey as an example, where, okay, in a certain time, we want to break out. We want our wingers to come low. It's a very simple thing. We want our wingers to come low. Start there. It's one thing. And so when a kid isn't doing it, is that a mental focus, or is that just a decision? Sometimes it's just like, because they get in the course of the game and somebody has the puck and they're like, I got to score. So they turn up the ice quick. Yeah. So I'm not sure that's a lack of focus, much more so, and maybe it is, but it's learning to control. No, not my gut instinct. I got to get in my position and then I can go. Because there's NHL coaches talk about how the best offense is a good defense, and it starts there. So,
but what does that mean?
Yeah.
Does the player even know what that means?
Some they do learn, like they figure it out, but it's easier said than done. And I think the biggest mistake we can ever make is have expectations on children because we compare it to what adults do.
Oh, absolutely. And the number one goal is to score, right? So that's the first thought. And it's not necessarily getting into position. If you haven't done it, if you haven't trained it enough, it is not going to come. How hard you try, it's still not going to come, right? But you got to practice it. And it's just that repetition is going to start to ingrain. Okay, at this point in the game, I got to get down low and get ready, right? Otherwise, your head gets ahead of you, and then your skates start catching up to you. And then soon you know that you're up and down at the wrong end and you're going, oh, I'm in the wrong spot again. Mm-hmm. So it's coming back to it. And again, there's certain times where the focus should be on play, like literally just hacking around. It should be on technical stuff. It should be on skating stuff. Maybe it's on shooting. Maybe it's on passing. And if you can break it down into short segments, the mind works better in smaller, shorter segments than trying to do everything all together. It's combining it. That makes it hard. But if you've got the little segments down pat, or you're starting to get a really good hang of that, you could send two kids off practicing just off at one end, send another two up at the opposite end, and then do something in the middle, and they're doing very similar things. And then you bring them all together so that they can work together and try it before you get game day situation.
I think the big one is trying to get kids, and you've said, get them comfortable in one or two things. And once they master that, then you can move on. And sometimes we're like, well, we practice it twice. That's good enough. And I learned that as a coach a few years ago, because I was watching the Oilers. I'm like, these are NHL players. I'm watching their practices, and I was like, they're doing the same thing virtually. Like, they might add a little bit here or there, but it's still a lot of the same stuff. It's always the same.
It's the fundamentals.
Yes.
If you don't know the fundamentals, Jason, you're hooped, because you're going to try and do all the fancy stuff. Before you can do the fancy stuff, before you can get fast, you have to have the base, and that's the foundation. Look at skaters. They hate the short program, or they've got the technical program. It's the fundamentals. If you do the fundamentals really, 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 really well, you're going to be able to take on the higher level, activities, the technical stuff, and do even better because you've got the base.
Lorianne Muenzer joins us. Have you, in your experience with younger players, how can we help the mentals? And I know it's a broad question because everybody's very different, but are there certain things that work with most kids that are very simple and easy?
Absolutely. From a mindset point of view,
Yes.
Is an affirmation or a mantra or a saying. They probably won't get affirmation. They may get a mantra, but if you've got a saying and it's a team saying, that can be a collective, because that.
Do you have an example? Like, what would be a good team saying?
We can do this. We can do this. What would be another one? Individually is, I'm getting better and better every game. I'm getting better and better every game. And it's just going to roll off your tongue. So even if you have it as a collective, as a team, I'm getting better. We're getting better. I'm getting better every game. We're getting better every game. And you start rolling that, there's going to, literally, it's like a train that starts to picks up speed. And then it's just like, rah! Because you see it start at basketball games, volleyball games, a lot of times at the Olympics with the team sports, you huddle together. There's obviously a saying that they go through, and then it's like the hands go down, the hands come up, and they're ready. And it's just that point. It's that moment of resetting of, let's get the head in the game. Let's get on that. We'll say the radio station 1440. We're on that station, and here we go.
Yeah, and I think it's a valid thing. I do like the the mantra, because it's more of a positive thing. Because a lot of times kids will, it's the old adage, when you coach, you should give 3 compliments mixed in 1 constructive criticism, then end with it. Because most people, if you say the one thing you don't like, you can say 10 things you like, and they only focus on the one thing you didn't like.
Yeah.
Right?
But there's a problem with one of the words too, is I don't like the word criticism, because it's a negative. And I don't think criticism is bad, but it's reframing it as feedback of the experience. What did you do? And a lot of kids look at criticism like, oh, it's the end of the world. And they're absolutely crushed. But it's like, hey, would you like some feedback on how you could improve, or how you could get faster, how you could skate quicker, how you could pass better, how you could shoot and score better? Of course, they're going to say absolutely. But it's when you give feedback, it's on a whole different frequency or vibration, that it feels better than, oh, well, Jason, we're going to criticize what you did, right? That just does not have a good feeling. And if you can keep the athletes, young, middle-aged, old, even the seniors, on that frequency of, hey, this feels good. We may be down, we may be the underdog, we may not be getting any goals or whatever, but there's still an energy around it that you're still contributing. You're passing the puck, you're playing the game, and you're still having fun. And sometimes when you use the word criticism, the fun goes out the window, the thinking goes out the window, and the athletes, regardless of whatever age, they do not have a good time, and they'll quit before coming back again.
Lorianne Muenzer joins us on Sports 1440, Oilers Nation, YouTube and Facebook. It is a fine line, but now we got some text coming in. So if you can never challenge your kid, how do you improve them if you can only say positive affirmations?
Well, they have enough negative self-talk going on in their heads. Oh, I'm not good enough. I'm not smart enough. I'm not strong enough. I'm not as fast as Johnny or Mary or Joe.
Okay.
Right? We all have that negative self-talk. Or on the flip side, there is no self-talk. It's quiet. It's silent. Because there's a lot of kids that I know that are like ADHD, ASD, so autistic, attention deficits. There's OCD, overcompulsive disorder. There's all kinds of stuff. And what that is, it's just a different energy system. Some are ramped up and wired up so high. Some are a little bit slower. And it's just, okay, can you connect with the kids to be able to start bringing out their best? Because there's enough stuff going on in our world that, you're not good enough. You're not tall enough. You're overweight, whatever that is. And I think we need to start really tuning in and repeating those good things, because the good things will come out. It's going to take a lot more time because we've been so focused on the negative.
Yeah, and that's fair. So if they make a mistake, how do you point it out without it being a negative?
What was the experience? Can you walk me through what happened?
What did you see there? Okay.
What did you see there?
Yeah.
And sometimes it would be really great, as it's got to be a safe environment. It's got to be transparent, and you have to say something good and look for the good. Is how, if you say you and I were playing hockey and you did something that didn't work, how could I express what you did to explain it, but explain it in a way that if we had a second opportunity, it would work? What would the opportunity be the next time if you were placed in the same situation?
I like that. Lorianne, great stuff. I appreciate it. That's it's good advice. As always, Lorianne Muenzer, Olympic gold medalist, joins us every Friday to talk a little bit about the mental side of the game and preparation. Sometimes we go deep into pro sports and athletes. Today, I thought we wanted to focus a little bit more on some of the minor ones, because I think as parents, that's probably the same reminder in the car ride home, right? Like there's books being written about that car ride home, and
Absolutely.
the biggest mistake you can make is talking about, because usually it's all the things you did. It's rare. Hey, I love this. I love this. I love that. Wow. How was the game? What do you think? Yeah. ...
Yes. So what about the car ride being the question and the parents asking the questions, or then the athletes, if there's two athletes, the kids in the back or the front, asking questions about their game? And I think spinning it around that way, because instead of the parents or, the guardian looking at it, is ask what their experience was, because the watching the game is going to be totally different than playing the game, because we can coach from the sidelines. We can coach from our armchairs, no problem. But when you're in the game, Jason, it's a totally different experience.
Yes, 100%. Yeah, what you see from the stands as a fan or a parent is vastly different on what they see on the ice.
Exactly.
Right.
And asking questions, best thing you can do as a coach, best thing you can do as a friend, best thing you can do as a teammate, and best thing you can do as a parent.
Awesome. Thanks, Lorianne. Have a great day. Have a great weekend.
You too. Thanks, Jason.
That's Lorianne Muenzer. 3 o'clock when we return. We got lots of texts coming in on the order speed. We'll get to that. We'll break down some of the numbers. You got some questions. We'll break it down on individual speeds, etc. After Declan Cougar and a Sports 1440 update brought to you by Booster Juice, as they celebrate 25 years, man. You want to get on Booster Juice every day. They got different ones. They're going to give away vehicles. They're giving away trips to Vegas, tickets, and more. So check it out while you get into Booster Juice and download the Boosters Reward app for all the details.
This is a Sports 1440 update.
And for your Sports 1440 update, 4 games tonight in the NHL. It all gets going at 5 p.m. with the Red Wings in Toronto taking on the Maple Leafs. Penguins and Caps at 5:30, and 2 games at 8 p.m. We'll see the Wild in Anaheim taking on the Ducks, and Vegas and Seattle taking on the Kraken. 13 games tonight in the NBA, 3 games tipping off at 5 to start the action. Indiana in Charlotte, Atlanta in Detroit, and New Orleans in Orlando. The 2 late games will see Philadelphia and LA taking on the Lakers, and the Clippers in Sacramento taking on the Kings. What? Seven games in the WHL, including the Edmonton Oil Kings, who will be in action tonight out in Medicine Hat versus the Tigers. A 7 p.m. puck drop for that one. And Sherwood Park and Spruce Grove both going tonight in BCHL action. Spruce Grove at home against Cranbrook, and Sherwood Park out in Salmon Arm with a 7 p.m. puck drop for both games. Pandas hockey this weekend with a crosstown rivalry against McEwen, a 7 p.m. puck drop at the Downtown Community Arena tonight, and then a 2 p.m. puck drop tomorrow at the Drake. Golden Bears also in action against McEwen this weekend, 7 p.m. at the Drake tonight, and another 7 p.m. puck drop tomorrow at the Downtown Community Arena. News around the sporting world is the Maple Leafs have placed Austin Matthews on IR, keeping him out of Saturday's game against the Canadiens. I'm Declan Kruger, and this has been a Sports 1440 update.
Is Sports 1440, a Stingray radio station broadcasting on Treaty 6 territory.
Download the free iHeartRadio app and listen to CKJR wherever you go.
Your furnace is dead. It's time to replace it before winter crushes you. Legacy Heating and Cooling is practically there already.
Yeah, we're working in your basement.
doing a replacement. The work is so earnestly building your legacy. With no payments and no interest for 1 year, you gotta call Legacy. Replacing your dying furnace before it's too late, that's how you build your legacy. Legacy Heating and Cooling.
Need a truck? Want a great deal on a truck? Get into Wolf GMC Buick. It's GMC's Canada-wide clearance. Take advantage of 0% financing on Sierra half-tons. Oh, and guess what? GMC employee pricing is back on all in-stock 2024 Sierra HDs and Yukons. That means thousands of dollars in savings on GMC Sierra 3/4 ton and 1 ton. Also thousands off the industry-leading SUV, the GMC Yukon. Get to Wolf GMC Buick now and drive away with money off and a smile on. Just off the Anthony Henday.
The locks are on a timer. They're going to get out.
Sounds like the men and women of Action Electrical.
Service team reporting. With the remarkable reach of our bucket trucks and other equipment, we assess, service, and maintain your electrical lighting and automation systems.
Facing an electrical menace? Call the men and women of Action. Operating throughout Alberta at actionelectrical.net.
Sports 1440 is ready to talk hockey with you after every game this season. The post-game show with Andrew Walker is brought to you by the Ridge Social Eatery in St. Albert. Tune in after the next game.
Michelle and Colette are sisters. Sisters who don't agree on much, especially when it comes to which hockey team is the best.
Edmonton is the best, baby. Vancouver's number one.
Even when it comes to meat snacks from Wilhawks.
I love the Harris Wiener. The ham sausage rules.
But they will agree
Wilhawk beef jerky is the best.
it might just be the only thing Alberta hockey fans can agree on.
Others can try to imitate, but no one can duplicate Wilhawk beef jerky. Only available in Leduc. Get yours today, because you don't win friends with salad.
Silent Ice Sports and Entertainment is an innovative market leader across Western Canada, with sports and entertainment properties including the Spruce Grove Saints, the Junior Prospects Hockey League, Silent Rides Charter Company, the Hockey Super League, and the newly launched Female Super League. Silent Ice also owns the Western Hockey League Seattle Thunderbirds and operates the Morinville AAA Arena. The Silent Ice Center, a new state-of-the-art entertainment facility, is open in Nisku, which features 2 sheets of ice, including a 1,600-seat arena and a restaurant with a viewing area.
At Papa John's, better is our specialty. Try our butter chicken pizza, the meats, the works, garden fresh, and more. Each special in its own way, just like you. With that ooey, gooey, crispy, crunchy taste, fresh, never frozen dough, and quality topping. Special has never tasted better. And so, for a limited time, get any large specialty pizza for just $17.99 with promo code LG1799 at papajohns.ca. Better ingredients, better pizza. Better get you some Papa John's.
Husqvarna and the Lawnmower Hospital have what you need to clean up for fall and get prepared for winter. Yep, I said winter. It's coming, but you can handle it with the Lawnmower Hospital and Husqvarna. From battery-powered pole saws and chainsaws to tow-behind sweepers to collect all those leaves. Don't forget the Husqvarna 580 BTS backpack blower. Great for leaves, amazing for the snow. LawnmowerHosp.com.
The Lawnmower Hospital.
If you think about it, when you drive a Honda Pilot, you are a Honda Pilot. And Sherwood Honda has you cleared for takeoff. With 3 rows, every passenger gets a window seat and legroom while you jet to your next adventure. Bring in lots of extra baggage with no extra fees. Be the captain of your destiny on the drive. Be a Honda Pilot in your Honda Pilot. Now boarding at Sherwood Honda.
Portions of this hour brought to you by Can Torque. We offer sale, rental, repair, and calibration of hydraulic, pneumatic, and battery-powered torque wrenches, stud tensioners, and flange maintenance equipment. Order today at cantorque.com.
Look good, feel good, play good. It's the Jason Gregor Show. Thanks for listening to Sports 1440.
Presented by PlayAlberta.ca, Alberta's only regulated online gambling website.
Just after 3 o'clock. How are you? Welcome back. Positive Friday on Sports 1440, Oilers Nation, YouTube and Facebook and X, also sports1440.ca. Hope you're having yourselves an awesome day. Also, Krista Degucci, the Olympic gold medalist in judo, for all the judo fans. She's running a clinic this weekend. So if you're into judo, you might want to search that out. Of course, not very often. We just had an Olympic gold medalist in studio, but it's not very often you get to see one or chat with them. So it's a pretty big deal for all those in the judo community this weekend. Oilers in Vancouver. They only got the 1 day on the weekend. So you look at the schedule upcoming is not difficult as far as, timelines. They don't, they 2 days off. They play Vancouver, 2 days off. Islanders, day off. Nashville, day off. Toronto, day off. Then they have back-to-back, right? They got the 3 and 4 on the road trip. Then they come home, day off. Minnesota, day off. Rangers, then 5 days off. Kind of an extra, like a little mini week off for the Oilers. They'll probably have a few days off of practice, I would think. Maybe 2 good days of practice. Then they go on the road for a 3-gamer. Then home. Then they're home for a pretty good stretch in December. They are home in December from the 5th until the 22nd, except for 1 game where they have a quick jaunt out to Minnesota. So now I know that the home record has not been great thus far. Did you know the Oilers have scored the fewest goals on home ice in the first 8 games of a season? It tied their franchise record. So if you've been going to the games and saying, what the hell's going on? Not seeing a lot of goals. You are correct. There hasn't been a lot. But hey, maybe that'll change next week. You never know when it can change. We'll see. Hey guys, they seem faster statistically because they don't have Desharnais dragging down the number. Well, Vinny Desharnais actually wasn't very slow. I can get you the numbers for the big man. Vincent Desharnais. Big guys look slower than they actually are, and so I wouldn't. I don't really believe that he was super slow by any stretch of the imagination. So I'll try to crunch up his numbers and what they were last year. It'll take me a few secs to find them, but we'll see. 833-401-1440 in our inbox. Hey guys, can we hire Laurie as our new assistant special teams coach? But really, they seem to be inside their own heads from Entourage from Calgary. Well, I think your last line is probably valid. When you look at their special teams, a lot of it is confidence. And Strutty's talked about it. When your penalty kill's playing great, you're hopping over the boards. All right, boys. Actually, I had a player tell me that last year in the Stanley Cup playoffs for the Oilers, they would come into it. If the first period was kind of a dud, they would joke in the room, someone take a penalty, because their penalty kill was so damn good. It would give them momentum. No joke. Player told me that flat out. He says like, hey, yeah, we'd come in. You know what? Hey, someone take a penalty. Let's be aggressive. We're going to kill it off. Because remember, they only allowed 4 goals on the penalty kill last year, but they scored 3 shorthanded goals. They were -1. So that's how much confidence you can have when imagine, hey, someone take a penalty. Like, obviously you're being somewhat facetious, but also you're like, hey, no, we're confident, because when you kill it off, it can give you a boost. And conversely, when you don't kill it off, like you sag, the team sags. Like, think about the Oilers. After a successful penalty kill, who comes out on the ice? McDavid, Draisaitl, Hyman. Your 3 top offensive players. The coach wisely loads them up because none of them are on the penalty kill. They've just used guys from different line combinations anyway. And away you go. And you can build on that momentum and good feeling of killing off the penalty. Now, though, you're lining up and it's like, God, we're just trying to get back on even ground. It's a total different mindset. And when you're killing off less than 60% of your penalties, it ain't good. Not good at all. As we welcome to the program from Oilers Nation, Wanye Gretz. Wanye, what's happening?
If you like a gold medal winner, you're going to love a platinum medal winner at the Olympics. That's me. Platinum.
Really?
Yeah. What was my event? Being awesome. Winter, summer, both.
Not bad.
Platinum.
That's, well, platinum is in the music world. Platinum's where it's at,
That's
right?
what I'm saying.
Like, is there a higher award than like when your album goes platinum?
Diamond.
Diamond's higher?
You can do diamond, 1 million sales. Yeah.
Okay.
Doesn't happen much in the streaming era, but you can.
Do you know what the last diamond album was? Anyone? Deck, look that up. What was the last album that was a diamond album?
Rihanna had a really late in the game high selling album.
Okay.
But I wouldn't stand on business and guarantee.
You wouldn't say for sure which one it was?
No.
Okay, well, yeah, well, I would have dude, you could give me 100 guesses and I wouldn't get it.
So it looks like the last album to go diamond, if my research is correct, was 21 by Adele.
Ooh.
Amazing.
That lady can sing.
Oh, yeah.
She's got quite the set of chops on her.
Well deserved. Congrats, Adele.
Wow. Now, what year did that come out?
2011. And she released it, I believe, as a 21-year-old, which is why it was titled 21. So all the more impressive.
Wow. Well, there you go, Adele. So who's going to be the next diamond Adele? Now, you were saying because the streaming era might not ever, is it way harder to do now?
Yeah, because that's like considered album unit sales. So in the streaming era, most music is listened to via streaming. So people always point to declining first week sales as like proof that music isn't good, but it's just because people aren't really listening to it on full albums anymore. When's the last time you bought an album, Gregor?
Well, I'm the worst guy to ask. I don't. The last, well, no.
Oh, no.
Dude, I could, this is embarrassing. Because for years, way back when we bought cassettes, all my cassettes were like those dance jam tracks. Like that's what I bought, right? For sure. Because I never liked one band enough to buy their album. So I like the ones that had mix of kind of all the best songs of that, right? Now I did have Young MC and I had a few other ones. But honestly, like I used to get some CDs made for me, like burned. I got quite a few Motown ones made for me. A good friend of mine, Michelle, she was unreal and they were great. Like I still have them. They're awesome. But no joke, because my wife mocks me about it all the time, is I made a spur of the moment purchase at a liquor store where, because I liked the one song and I'm standing at the liquor store. And I remember because I was going to my buddy Hutch's house and I'm in line and it was at the front counter. And God, this is embarrassing. I don't even want to say it, but I bought the Susan Boyle one because I like that one song.
What on earth?
And then when I listened to it in the car, it's not nearly as good. I was like, this is terrible. I'm not watching all the screens. Like, oh. And then then it would just sit like in the bottom of the cubby. Like I literally listened to it twice in the car. I'm like, this isn't nearly as good as I remember it being. What the hell's going on? It was like $6.
Christmas album?
No, it was just like whatever, like the best of Susan Boyle, which wasn't very good. Let's not kid ourselves. That's why it was being sold in a liquor store. God, that was embarrassing. Like if we put top like embarrassing things you purchased, that would probably be near the top of mine in my life. God, that's an awful choice.
Did you have the binders of CDs when that was in vogue? Like, did you have in the truck or the car like a whole bunch of burnt CDs in a giant binder?
I had a few because in my vehicle I used to have the CD holder that you could have in between the console.
Ooh.
It would keep like 5 or 6, so I would slide some in there.
All right.
But it was never like, I know the guys most of you probably who drove a Trans Am or a Camaro, and you would pull it out from under your passenger seat and it would unfold. Like I had buddies who had like the case of CDs and like 50 of them in there. Oh yeah, like good looking boy had it and a few of the other guys had it. I was never that guy.
Easily, my CD binder was worth more than my car for a long time. A long time.
Really?
Whipped down to HMV. 2 CDs is $40 in like the late 90s, early O's. It wasn't cheap.
Oh yeah, no, yeah, music, no joke. But nowadays, like, is it cheaper to stream? Like,
you're paying $29.99 a month to Apple Music or whatever, and you get all the music you want.
So that's $30 a month, and like one CD. Prior to streaming, was one CD like $15-20 on average?
Yeah, that's fair.
Okay, so yeah, you're right. It is cheaper.
But I think from the artist point of view, they don't have the same like revenue splits with the streamers that they had back in the day with the albums.
Right.
So the diamond albums, like we're seeing, like Adele 21, you just don't see those types of moving units anymore.
Yeah.
We're here beside the HMV store. Do you remember when you'd come down here and get a seat? You maybe didn't because you weren't a music fan.
I did go to the big HMV that used to be on Calgary Trail right by Cocktail Club.
Yeah.
Remember that one? Had the big stairs. So I remember that. So But yeah, it's we got a lot of tech. Like, honestly, let me know what was your worst CD or cassette purchase. What's yours?
My worst, I thought I was ordering a No Doubt CD, and I got an album. The title of the album was No Doubt, and it was like Christian gospel R&B. And I was like, this isn't Spider Webs, because I was the hot jam at the time. That was a tough one.
Oh, wow, that is a tough one. Declan?
I never really bought too many CDs, as you may expect with my age. I do remember when I was 7 years old saving up my allowance money to buy Have a Nice Day by Bon Jovi. So that was pretty cool.
No. Yeah, but that's not a regretful buy. That's like an exciting buy. So you don't really have a regret?
The thing is, I can't really have a regret because I never really dropped my money into CDs like that. Like, I'm obviously pretty young. When I was first going into music, like the iPod was already there, then Apple Music, Spotify. Like, I never had a chance.
Well, you ever
to really
download
buy.
a song and you're like, what? And then like hated it right away?
Okay, yeah, that's a good. Yeah, I mean, there's some albums, some rappers I generally come to appreciate when they drop a new album. I'll listen to, like, download it, listen to it, then after the fact realize like that wasn't that great.
Mm-hmm.
You had me there, Declan, when you're like, oh, I'm too young. But then you said that the last album was a Bon Jovi album. What kind of 7-year-old?
It was crazy. You want to know something even crazier? My sister at age 5 saved up her allowance money to buy a Black Eyed Peas album. So I don't know what the hell we were doing in that house, but it was pretty weird over there.
But yours is like 40 years earlier. Like, what kind of 7-year-old?
No. Have a Nice Day came out in 2004 when I was 7. Yeah, that was the one with the red smiley face on it.
Right.
Now, quickly, because I know you're big into beefs, Wanye. The Drake DeMar.
Wow.
DeMar Rosen beef right now.
This is not looking good for Drake.
It looks like a tool.
An absolute tool.
Like an absolute tool to be one. Oh, he was in a video with Lamar. So now I'm going to rip down. Like, what an idiot. And I do love DeMar, for anybody who doesn't know. So there was talk in Toronto about, Vince Carter's had his first guy to have his jersey retired. And everyone's like, Kyle Lowry's going to have his. And then some people are like, DeMar DeRozan should probably maybe have his in consideration. So we'll see. And then Drake's, if his is up, I would rip it down. And I love DeMar's answer. Hey, you'd have to reach up pretty high. It's perfect because he looks like such a tool. Like, and I'll be honest, I don't really know the real background into the dish, what went on between him and Lamar. Like, I don't get it. I don't understand it. And part of me is always like, I think this is just for public say anyway. Like, did they actually go meet behind the bike racks and get in a fight? Because if they haven't, then it's all talk and they're a bunch of phonies. Because I'll tell you right now, the school at my son, who's in grade 5, they sent an email out because guess what happened? There was a fight at the Hill.
Not between Drake and Kendrick Lamar, was it?
No, between two of the kids in school. And they planned it. 2 kids in grade 6 had a fight at the Hill, and they had to send out an email. And no, it wasn't, my son didn't even know who the kids were because, their school has a fair amount and whatever. He just said, I was in music class when it happened, Dad. So, but it made me laugh. And I'm just like, so we have kids who are man enough, because trust me, it is hard to want to be willing to fight someone and exchange punches in the face. It's not easy. But if you got these 2 idiots, right, I'm going to make a diss track. You're a loser. You're more of a loser. And I'm going to sit in my $1 million mansion with my rings and talk tough, but never actually go face the guy and drop him. Then they're the biggest phonies ever.
Now, was the email about no fighting or the fight promotion?
No. They were just saying how, this happened. It's something they want to talk about. So, please discuss with your kids. This is not appropriate. Yada, yada, yada.
Is it always bad to fight? Isn't that part of the rite of passage of being a little kid?
Well, the school has it. You know what? I'm sure there's a part of them. It's like, hey, you know what? They get it out. They fight. No one's really hurt. And they move on, whatever. And the thing I kind of respect is that no one ratted out. I know some people say, oh, no, you should tattletale. I'm like, well, I don't know how often in grade 6, if 2 kids are willing to fight each other, that somebody's really going to get hurt. I don't know. I remember seeing some of the fights behind the Hill and the kid got a bloody nose and that was kind of it, right? Like they weren't getting curb stomped or anything like that, right? Usually when it was over, if one kid's winning, I think it's the old adage, if the kid's down, you don't kick them, right? Like, I don't know when that started, but that definitely didn't happen when I was growing up. I never saw that. Like usually the guy would go down and, you had a few idiots that might go over top and then people would jump in. It was over. But I found there was a part of me that was like, you know what? I kind of respect the willingness to say, oh, yeah, we got a problem. We're going to duke it out.
when I got into grade 7, I remember I thought I was quite the cool guy. And let me tell you, the older kids beat it out of me, Gregor. They beat me up. And I learned a valuable lesson that day. Talk about people behind their back, not to their face. Because if you smack talk them to their face, they may smack you in the face.
Yeah.
And I think kids need to learn those lessons. Some kids need to have a little bit of a tussle to get it out of them. Bullying is a full
No, bullying's a
thing.
total.
But two kids agreeing to go fight at the hill?
Yeah,
I
bullying.
respect the gladiator.
But anybody who stands up to bully get full marks. Right?
100%.
Tell my son that all the time. I said, hey, if you ever see somebody getting bullied, I know it's going to be scary, but you got to stand up for them.
100%.
You have to. So, yeah. Any kids out there that are listening, don't be a bully because you're a tool. Don't do it. 3:25. When we return, later on in the show, Jeff Marek is going to join us. Also, we got, we'll go to Vancouver. Quinn Hughes is having himself quite a season. We're going to see a lot of Hughes McDavid, I would think, tomorrow night. Quite the matchup. Next on the Jason Gregor Show, presented by PlayAlberta.ca. Use the promo code Gregor50 and get a $50 free wager at PlayAlberta.ca.
Hockey is back, and Play Alberta, Alberta's #1 sportsbook and official partner of the Edmonton Oilers, has you covered with bigger offers, boosted odds, live betting, player props, and more. New to Play Alberta? New players now receive $200 in free bets just for signing up. You already play? Get a $10 free bet for every $100 you bet every week all season long. Visit playalberta.ca and make your picks today. Bonus terms and conditions apply.
We've finished construction of our gamma radiation containment facility. Is it up to code? Is it going to be safe?
Sounds like a job for the men and women of Action Electrical.
Testing team reporting. We test your commercial operations using tools like infrared to ensure safe operation. Trust us to prevent potential calamity before it strikes.
Facing an electrical menace? Call the men and women of Action. Operating throughout Alberta at actionelectrical.net.
When it comes to your health, trust Dr. Bryce Henderson for expert care in hip and knee replacements. With years of experience and advanced techniques, Dr. Henderson helps you regain your mobility and quality of life.
Your health is my priority. Let's get you back to doing what you love.
Put your health in the hands of a trusted expert. Book your consultation with Dr. Henderson today. Visit vitalsurgicalspecialist.ca or call 587-391-7864.
Scott McGilvery here, HGTV host and renovation expert. The one upgrade I know homeowners will love: better, fresher Culligan water straight from the tap. Culligan's Aquessential reverse osmosis filtration system takes your water to the next level. With up to 7 stages of filtration and 14 filter options, they're certified to reduce over 90 contaminants. Your tap water is about to get a major upgrade. Safer water that tastes great. Get started with a free in-home water test at Culligan.com. Culligan. Water you love.
The Nissan All-In Clear-Out event is on now, where you can lease or finance the select remaining 2024 Sentra from 0.99% for 24 months. Plus, qualified Nissan owners may receive up to $500 in loyalty bonus. Go all in with a Nissan Sentra, featuring a beautifully redesigned front grille and sporty design. And the available around view monitor helps give you a 360 view of what's around you, and maybe what having superpowers feels like. Conditions apply. Quantities limited. See Nissan.ca for details.
Visit your local Edmonton and area Nissan dealer for more information. The zero-turn blowout sales event is on now at the Lawnmower Hospital. Get great savings on all in-stock zero-turn tractors from trusted brands like Toro, Country Clipper, and Hustler Turf. Backpack blowers are in stock for the leaves and fall cleanup. And of course, the snow. Our Toro snowblowers are in stock now too. Be prepared because winter will be here soon. LawnmowerHosp.com.
The Lawnmower Hospital.
He's not just another pair of glasses. It's the Jason Gregor Show. Thanks for checking out Edmonton Sports 1440.
Presented by PlayAlberta.ca, Alberta's only regulated online gambling website.
Positive Friday. This is the Jason Gregor Show, Sports 1440, Oilers Nation, YouTube and Facebook, presented by PlayAlberta.ca. As we're going to go around the NHL, brought to you by McDonald's. And hey, the Fan Day deals, Tuesday, Thursday, Sunday. Get at McDonald's, download the app. It's only available through the app, and you get $4 Big Macs, $4 filet of fish, or a $4 McChicken. Delish. Oof, little Sunday, that hangover food after a fun Saturday night. Who knows? Maybe Oilers fans or Canuck fans, depending on which team wins, might be using that at McDonald's. As Dan Riccio joins us from Sportsnet 650 in Vancouver. Dan, Canucks big win last night. I guess let's start with the unfortunate news. Brock Besser got hit by Tanner Jeannot. Jeannot is going to get suspended. It's just a matter of how many games. What's your expectations on Besser's availability for tomorrow?
Yeah, it's still up in the air. Canucks have been off with the travel day, and it's tough to say. Besser has had a concussion in the past. We don't have any confirmation if he did end up with officially a concussion from the hit, but it's one of those things that's kind of up in the air right now. You don't know exactly how he's going to react. Sometimes, these symptoms will linger on for a few days. So for Besser, it's tough because he's been arguably the Canucks' best forward this season. He's in a contract year. He's trying to get on Team USA for the Four Nations Cup. This is a tough loss if Besser's going to miss any amount of time.
Oh, God, yeah, I would think so. Especially when, hey, the Edmonton Oilers, their offense is brutal right now. Their forwards, only Anahiem has scored fewer goals than them, which is stunning to me as a forward group. But the Canucks, they got some guys. We'll get to Quinn Hughes in a sec. He's playing unreal. But what are you not seeing out of Elias Pettersson's game? Like, it's freaky when you look at his numbers ever since he signed that contract. Like, I don't know, is he putting too much pressure on himself? Like, this guy's got a great release, but we're not seeing it result in goals.
We're not seeing any of what had made Pettersson a 100-point scorer, a guy that, until he signed that contract was as good an offensive player as there is in the National Hockey League or close to it, right? So you look at the NHL Edge data, his skating speed is down, although that's starting to come around these last couple of games. The shot power is down. That one-timer he would take from the right half wall on the power play has just been non-existent going back to last year. It feels like a lot of it is confidence. He's not playing with the same kind of assertiveness offensively. Right now, he's kind of been playing like a shut-down third-line center role, which is fine if, you're Teddy Bluger type, but not if you're making $11.6 million. So it's really, he's an enigma. Like, I know there's knee tendonitis. There's some things going on. But it's the National Hockey League. You're a star player. You're going to have to play through things. You're going to have to find a way to still have success. You look at JT Miller as an example. He's not at 100% right now. He's had something going on since the preseason, but he's still finding a way to be around a point a game. His overall game isn't exactly where you would expect for JT Miller, but he's still producing. He's still finding ways to help his team win. And that's where Pettersson, he's been a bit of a ghost. Most nights you kind of put him on the side of a milk carton because he's been missing. You just don't notice Pettersson in the same way that you would prior to last year's All-Star break, which is when this slump really started to happen.
Yeah, it's crazy that it extends that long. And I'm sure they're looking at everything to try to figure it out. And it's not like a 10-gamer or an 8-gamer. It's an extended period of time. On the other end, though, you've got Quinn Hughes, and this guy's having him and Cale Makar. Most people thought it was going to be a good battle for the Norris Trophy, and my goodness, it could be a hell of a battle for the Norris Trophy as both guys are off to unreal starts. What have you seen? And I know this might be a tough question because he was very good to begin with, but where has he elevated his game this year?
The obvious spot is his shot. When Quinn came in the league, of course, he's not the biggest of guys. He had kind of a muffin. He was able to get it off quickly and find different angles to get his shot off. But you never expected it to be a plus of his game, of his repertoire. And over the last 2 years, his shot has really become something that teams need to worry about. He scored on a couple of clappers this year. He's ticking in over 92, 93 miles an hour. So it is now a strength of his game. he's always been able to walk the blue line, Jason, and the way that he skates, the way he is on his edges, absolute nightmare for any winger at the top of the zone trying to cover this guy, especially when opposition teams are going man on man. And we saw that last night against LA, where he's just dummying guys with crossovers and things of that like. But he'll find a way to get around a defender, take it around the perimeter, and either go to the net and get his shot off that way and really test the goaltender, or he'll find somebody at the back door like he did last night with Jake DeBrusk. It's everything about his game that's always been great, but every little part of it seems to have leveled up an extra 1%, 2%, 3%. And when you're already the best defenseman in the league, according to the Norris Trophy voting last year, to see that happen again and find another level, I mean, it's just remarkable. I mean, the next step for Quinn Hughes, if he's able to keep this up, is if he's the rare defenseman that actually gets talked about in a Hart Trophy conversation.
Dan Riccio joins us from Vancouver, Sportsnet 650. The Demko news, it sounds like maybe by the end of the month. And they are in a great position. They don't have to rush him because Kevin Lankinen has been unreal.
One of the, I don't know, the best signing of September, I guess you could say.
Best signing of the summer. Could argue it saved their start.
Well, the way that they expected Artur Shilovs, the young goalie that came in against Edmonton, obviously, and Nashville in the playoffs last year, they expected him to take another step, but that hasn't been the case. You know, some of the holes that Edmonton found in Shilovs' game and in the second round of the playoffs last year, other teams have started to scout it and really exploit it early on, and it's been a tough start for him. So having Lankinen, who you signed at the end of training camp, just at the start of preseason, come in and just hit the ground running, it has saved the start to this season. They don't have a win without Lankinen in net. They have ridden him quite a bit because he has been so hot, but you know, right now amongst best goalies in the league, he's probably right there, top 5, top 10-ish to start the season. There's no question about that. And even before these last few games in California, like the Canucks defensive game wasn't really coming around. It wasn't at the level that it was towards the end of last year. And so they needed and they leaned on Lankinen quite a bit to keep them in games and help them win games. Whereas now, you know, you're starting to see that defensive game come around, and it's just going to make it that much harder to score on the Vancouver Canucks if things continue this way.
Overall, if you look at the Canucks and, you know, you got to fast forward, they think they're a playoff team. They should be a playoff team. What are areas that they would want to improve? Like we know in Edmonton, they need a right shot defenseman. It's the most obvious thing ever. Is there an obvious need in Vancouver that needs to be addressed?
It's probably the same. It's
okay.
Right shot defenseman. You've got Hughes and Hronik, and you know, similar to what Edmonton does with Ekholm and Bouchard. It's you got one of the best pairs in the league. You're not going to split it up to try and spread the wealth across your defense. So they'll try and figure out how to make those minutes work when they're not on the ice, and that's the mantra that Rick Tocchet has had with his decor. But so far, Soucy and Myers, they were the shutdown pair last year and fared pretty well. Hasn't been a great start for them. They have been better these last couple of games. And then, you know, they made the trade right before setting their roster to send Tucker Pullman's LTIR contract to Colorado. And in that move, they got back Eric Brandstrom, and he's had to play with the injury to Derek Forbort, and he's been really good and helped solidify that third pair. You know, for all of the faults of Vinny Desharnais' game, you know, he's not exactly the greatest puck mover and that kind of thing. Brandstrom is that guy. He's able to skate the puck out of the zone. They've helped there. So their third pair has been better lately, but they're still looking to upgrade on that second pair and on that right side. I'd say even if they could get a left shot D and maybe bump down Carson Soucy's minutes a little bit, similar to what they did with Nikita Zadorov last year, where they started to spread the minutes. They didn't have like a true number 3 defenseman, but they had a lot of guys that profile as a 4-5 type, and they made it work that way. That's probably the way they're going to have to go this year. And it's just hard to figure out who that is, because I know we've talked about this in the past, Jason. It's just there's not a lot of defensemen available, and there certainly isn't really any intriguing or very many intriguing right shot defensemen available as far as rentals go or anywhere around the league.
God, no, I've looked at it all. And I think the Oilers are kind of planning ahead. That we've seen Brett Kulak play on the right side, because they might look and say, hey, maybe Brett Kulak's the guy and we'll go out and find a third pair left defender.
Yeah, and I think the Canucks might have to do something similar with a left shot D. It's just who that guy is. I think a lot of people were hoping maybe Rasmus Andersson eventually comes available. I don't know how keen on that Calgary is going to be. He's still got a year left on his deal, and that would be quite the exorbitant price to pay because Rasmus Andersson is really good, and really good right shot defensemen just don't become available. Even guys like Chychrun, who you thought might become available, like Washington's off to that hot start. Gavrikov would be, maybe the best rental defenseman, but I can't imagine LA is going to let him go with the way that he started his season. So any guy that might be available, you feel like they're going to end up getting locked up, and it's really hard to figure out where the D market's going this year.
Looking at their overall depth, the Demko's been out and they've survived. But one guy who I thought was a really good player for them last year, Dakota Joshua, of course, has the testicular cancer. And but he's, I know he's around the team, so I think it was testicular cancer, unless I'm mixing up my guys here. But he's going to be back soon, correct?
He is day to day right now.
Okay.
It seemed like he was going to get in at some point during this California road trip, but that didn't happen. So we're curious for when the Canucks get to skate tomorrow, if there's an update on Joshua and if he'll be available tomorrow night.
So maybe just cautious, or maybe some sort of setback and tweak something.
Yeah, it was strange because they called it a scheduled day off for him on Tuesday, and then Wednesday he didn't practice again, and yesterday he wasn't on the ice for morning skate. So it's a little bit of a mystery if there was a setback of some kind. Rick Tocchet wouldn't say there was a setback, but it feels like maybe it's just been hard for him to ramp up and really get to the level of game fitness that he's going to need to play in a game.
Dan Riccio joins us from Vancouver. One last one, Dan. The Canucks, we had a few order players. We saw, they were asked by the NHL, they put, hey, who's the biggest rival? And they're like Vancouver. Does Vancouver view the Oilers as their biggest rival right now?
I would say so. I mean, a lot of that stems from the playoff series last year and being so close to beating the Oilers. You would think with the way these two teams are trending and probably the way the playoff format is set up, it could happen again this year. It for sure is Edmonton right now. I think a lot of people in Vancouver wanted Seattle to be that kind of a team, but that obviously hasn't developed yet. So for me right now, it is probably Edmonton. And I guess it really started with Edmonton after those first two games last year, the 8-1 and the couple of wins that started last season and sent Edmonton off to their slow start a season ago. But the playoff series just took that up to another level.
Dan, great stuff, man. We appreciate it. Enjoy the game. Hopefully it's got a little snarliness to it tomorrow night. Always adds a little something in the November game.
Should be a good one. Thanks for this, Jason.
You betcha. That's Dan Riccio joining us from Sportsnet 650 in Vancouver. The Oilers and the Canucks. Saturday night, it's hockey night in Canada. You'll be juiced up for it. The players, I thought the Vegas game actually was probably the quickest game of the year. I thought it was intense. It was bad. I thought it was a really good game. Obviously, the ending sucked for the Oilers, but overall, I thought it was a pretty good game. And hopefully, we see a little more of that. And like Vancouver, now they spanked the Oilers last year in the regular season. You all saw it. So there should be a little extra motivation there because Oilers need something. Find the Michael Jordan. Find the one thing that's just going to irritate you to get you motivated and amped up a little bit more. Whatever it is, I don't care. Find something. He'd like to be wrong. Or more importantly, just get in a tilt early on. Corey Perry, go out there, challenge the bench. Let's go. See what happens. Quick break. We'll return on Sports 1440 Oilers Nation YouTube and Facebook. We got the 2-minute warning, Wanye's World and more on the Gregor Show, presented by PlayAlberta.ca.
Today, on November 8th, we honor National Indigenous Veterans Day. Claude Petit was born in Duck Lake on October 1st, 1935. He served as a paratrooper with the Canadian Armed Forces for 16 years.
You do one fighting patrol for the term that you're up there, and somebody's going to get killed. That's the fighting patrol. You make contact.
Claude has memorialized the contributions of Indigenous veterans. He was instrumental in creating the Monument to Indigenous Veterans in Ottawa, as well as an Indigenous Veterans Millennium Medal. For more of Claude's story, visit Veterans Voices of Canada at vetvoicecan.org. lest we forget.
Often when I meet people at a party or I'm hanging out at my favorite restaurants, I'll introduce myself and they'll say, "Oh, you're Grant Fedoruk from Leading Edge Physio. What can I do about this sore knee? It's been bugging me for months." First, I was thinking, when I'm out like this, I should just tweet my location so people know where to come for a consultation. But then I thought, I'm spending all this money on advertising Leading Edge. Maybe you could come by one of our clinics. That's where we have the technology and really smart physiotherapists who can give you all the advice and treatment you need. Have your people call my people, leadingedgephysio.com.
Well, get ready for a silly hockey fans. Your partner in
Of sports stories we could get into.
Big curling.
The new e-commerce website for electrical wholesalers Edmonton is ready for the power play 24/7 365.
UL skates to where the puck will be in 5 years. Now that's forward thinking.
Killer selection, slamming products from the best brands, and legendary service.
Don't sit on the bench. Get your account today at ewell.ca and win that project.
Plug into your partner in power. Get an ewel.ca account today.
Mr. Rooter plays a video game.
This is wonderful. A world where a plumber is the hero. My hat is off to you, Mario. Although I personally advise against eating any mushrooms found in a drain pipe. I won't make that mistake twice. All I've got to do now is hop over this Goomba and save the princess. What? No way. I pressed jump. I pressed jump.
For a super plumber with an all-time high score, call Mr. Rooter.
Get early access to real Black Friday prices now at The Brick. Save up to 65% off select sofas when you buy the matching love seat or chair. Up to 25% off bedroom and dining room furniture. Plus, save up to $700 off a big screen TV and get free shipping on TVs over 50 inches. Find 40% off mattresses and next day delivery on in-stock beds. Plus, save 3 times the tax when you buy 2 or more Samsung major kitchen appliances. Find a lower price before the end of the year and The Brick will refund the difference. Some exclusions apply. See in store for details.
Ain't it beautiful? What does excellence mean to you, and how does it impact your decisions? Friends, it's Carrie Dahl, and I know that at Volvo Cars Edmonton, excellence isn't an option, it's their everything. From customer satisfaction and sales, service, inventory, and retention, they excel in all. Congratulations, Volvo Cars Edmonton, Canada's only 12-time Volvo Excellence Award winners. Volvo of Edmonton.
Experience more at the Edmonton Expo Center. Come for Canada's largest trade show, the biggest names in entertainment, exhilarating sporting events, and more. Stay for the experience. But it doesn't end there. Maximize your brand exposure with Edmonton Expo Center's new cutting-edge feature screens, spanning Western Canada's largest venue space. Captivate an annual audience of over 1 million visitors during iconic events like Pro Rodeo, Disney on Ice, Glow, K-Days, and so much more. To learn more, call 780-660-0514 or visit edmontonexpocenter.com today.
Sometimes it feels like you work, sleep, and, well, that's about it. When you finally get a break for something different at Edmonton's best games room. Top Shots Billiards and Ping Pong. Unwind with championship tables, a state-of-the-art golf simulator, and 15,000 feet of games and fun for all ages. Top Shots is a fully licensed bar and restaurant with dozens of flat screens. #1 for parties, for bookings for any size. Top Shots, the best thing to happen at pool since chalk. In Millwoods and at topshots.ca.
Weather forecast? Ugh. Savings forecast? Cha-ching. Save up to $225 on a set of 4 select tires, plus a bonus $50 off any service of $150 at Fountain Tire until December 14th. Restrictions apply. Fountain Tire. We're on this road together.
Take the pain out of airport parking with Park to Go. Your first-class parking experience. Book self-serve and valet parking and save up to 30%. Book now with promo code RADIO-YEG. That's RADIO-YEG.
Sports Radio is back. The Jason Gregor Show on Sports 1440.
Presented by PlayAlberta.ca, Alberta's only regulated online gambling website.
Gregor Wanye Gretz, with you on Sports 1440. Husband of the OT MILF, it's quite the handle, did want to point out that it was A and B sound, not HMV on Calgary Trail. Correct, sir. It was A and B sound.
You're right.
And not HMV. So was it ever HMV? Maybe not, but it was A and B, I think.
The one HMV.
Oh, the one HMV was right in the mall, right? Like literally right to the right of where we're broadcasting from right now. So I don't even know what it is now. Like some clothing store.
Nothing.
Nothing.
A and B sound though. That was good times.
Oh yeah, not bad at all. So, hey guys, my cat still owes Columbia House for CDs from the 90s. Classic. Columbia House. Oh, that is a classic for sure. 833-401-1440. Gregor was listening to you talk about their speed of the Oilers. Is it possible? Because if you look on it, it says Calgary has the top speed. Yes, that's one player though. And so Pospisil had one burst of 24.04. So that's been the fastest burst thus far this season. But I like to go on averages overall for the team and individuals. And as a team, the Oilers in 20 mile an hour plus bursts, they are third with 363. LA has 366 and Colorado's way up at 351. And then at 22 mile an hour bursts, the Oilers are second. Avalanche have 35, the Oilers have 28, and the Kings have 22. So in every one. So, because McLeod was top end speed, right? So if people say the Oilers are slow, like I know everybody says it, but there's no data to match it. I'm sorry. I don't buy it. And what's funny in all of it is that their fastest skater is down quite a bit. So in 2022, McDavid's top end speed was 24 miles an hour, 0.14. Then in 23 was 24.16. In 24 is 24.19. Like, obviously that's, it looks like, hey, maybe he's reached his top end speed, which is still pretty damn fast at 24 miles an hour, right? 24.19, 24.16, 24.12. This season, his top speed thus far has been 22.97. So it's down like, 1.2 miles, which that could be the people like, well, McDavid, why he never draws any penalty? Well, that might be the difference. Like that burst is the difference between a D-man suddenly having to be like, oh my God, he's right by me, or I'm still with him. Right? Like it might not sound like much, but it's a lot, especially in a short period of time burst and you get up to that speed. So, that can be a factor. So despite that, and McDavid himself not having the top end speed that he's had in the past, and even his 20 mile an hour bursts are slightly lower than in previous years. About, over 1.5 a game from 22 and just under like, not even like 0.4 from last year. So not a massive number by any stretch, but slightly down. But the team is still in the top three. So you can't use the excuse, well, it's because they got McDavid. Well, no, it's not. The Oilers aren't as slow as everybody wants to say. I'm sorry, they aren't. I know it's easy to want to get mad and want to blame things. Here's the truth. Their best guys aren't scoring. You can deflect and look at everything else. That's what it comes down to. Their best guys aren't scoring. Full stop. Pump the brakes. Don't deflect. That's their number one reason. 5-on-5 and power play. Their 5-on-5 defending's been okay. Their penalty kill, brutal, yes. But the offense is a bigger problem because it's both special teams and 5-on-5 than their special teams and 5-on-5 defending. The worst aspect of their team right now is their scoring. I know some don't want to hear it. And I know it'll pick up and you're probably right. It might, but that doesn't mean that today, through 14 games, that's their biggest weakness right now. It's stunning, but it's true.
How do we get here, though? It just seems like a moment ago, it was the best power play since the games became colorized on TV. And suddenly it's largely the same people, and it's now the worst power play since the puck was rounded in 1904.
Well, I'll tell you this, and because it's sports, and there's not logical reasons. So I'll give you some numbers. The Winnipeg Jets finished last season on an 8-game winning streak. They won by a score. They outscored teams 35-15. Basically, an average of 2 goals. They're outscoring teams by 2 goals every game, killing them. This season, they're 13-1. They've outscored teams 63-30. So in their last 22 regular season games, they've outscored teams 98-45, over a 2-to-1 ratio. But somehow in between, in 5 playoff games, the Colorado Avalanche picked them up, bent them over their knees, and gave them a whooping in 5 games and outscored them 28-15. Like, it make sense. It doesn't make sense. Like, sometimes some things happen. Connor Halley couldn't stop a beach ball. But the funny thing goes, I'm actually playing really well. And maybe he was, because if you look at his 8 games before, well, really the whole year, and then to start this year, he's been unreal. But for 5 games, they were brutal. And right now, the Oilers, hey, they finished last season. Obviously, they're playing great. They went to Game 7 of the Stanley Cup Final. They got outscored by 1 goal in Game 7. It's as close as you can get without winning. Can't get closer. It's impossible. Well, I guess technically you lose in overtime. I guess technically and theoretically, but it's still only 1 goal. Right? And the Oilers now, they can't score. I can't explain it. I try to rationalize it. I've seen a lot of shots where I don't love their shot placement. Right? The goalie's got a quick chest. And to me, that's guys that don't have confidence right now in where they're shooting because their placement of the shot isn't where it normally would be. Do I think it'll come around? It should. I just don't know when. And I don't know by how much it's going to come around. So that's the question. But make no mistake, their offense right now through 14 games is their most consistent concern. Goaltending's had some really good games and had a few struggles. Like the Dallas game, Stuart Skinner played very well except 1 shot. Right? But the Oilers can't say that. It's not like they're lighting up the lamp except 1 bad missed opportunity. No, they're struggling most games to score. They got to have a defenseman playing in the slot, deflecting his partner's shot to get a goal. Or get a bounce off the end boards where the goalie's out of the net, not ready. Oh, here you go, Zach Hyman. Gift. Awesome. But let's make no mistake. Right now, if they had wood sticks, they'd have slivers. And because they're gripping it so tight. That's just the truth.
You're speaking the truth, Gregor.
Yeah.
Wish I could pick flaws in what you're saying. I don't like hearing it.
Yeah. So, find their offense and the victories will come. It's very, very simple. Let's get to the 2-minute warning brought to you by Legacy Heating and Cooling. Home and no payments, no interest for 1 year on your furnace. Stay warm all winter at legacyheating.ca. Cam Tate, longtime journalist, is in a wheelchair. He's got cerebral palsies. He's had that disability his whole life. He's always wanted to be in radio, but because of disability, wasn't able until now. Through the wonders of technology, Cam's words come to life in the 2-minute warning.
There are a ton, and that's not you understand, counting equipment, of sports stories we could get into. Oilers and their surprising slow start, Canadian Football League semifinals this weekend. Big curling out there in Nisku, Silent Ice Center, another weekend of college, and National Football League. The Association. Love that name, Association, and of course the countless minor sporting activities, lots we could with precision radar and other high-tech gizmos. Zoom in and take a deep dive, but in this, the 11th month, all but 2 days before the 11th day, and as time ticks toward the 11th hour of that profound day, perhaps we need to reflect and remember why this weekend is so important to not only Canadians, but citizens of other countries who live in democratic societies. Choice we can freely make from the time we wake up in the morning until we turn in for 90 nights. We get to choose, don't we? We get to choose what sports we want to play, what number we want to wear, what position we want to try out for. Think about that now, Uncle Pete. The choice to try, and then after tryouts, Oregon training camp, you and only you decide whether or not you want to carry on. Then in later years, if we're coaches, we decide what our team look, or I'm searching for a word here, maybe, I don't know, culture, environment, and we get to choose starting lineups, special teams, and so much more. But. You just don't have to be a player or a coach on a general manager. That's why we love hearing from you on Sports 1440, because you get to choose what team you want to lose sleep over or brag around the water cooler. And then again, you get to choose if you want to text or email us your thoughts. We then get to choose if we agree or can disagree. And then perhaps the biggest choice we have, to respect one another. And all of the choices we can make, all of them are because of Canadian men and women fought in both world wars. Poppy, I truly hope you choose to wear one. 2-minute warning, the Tater. Gregor Show, Monday, Friday, Sports 1440.
That's the greatest part about being a fan, baby. Get to choose what you like, what you don't like. And hey, honestly, if it didn't get you emotionally charged up, you wouldn't like sports. Honestly, I'm fine with people getting fired up. Nothing wrong with it. Just don't try to go away from the fact that the Oilers aren't much slower than you think. Just look at the rest of the league. They're not. They're still a top 3 team in bursts as they were last year. That's not why they're not scoring. They're the second best team 5-on-5 in shot for shot against ratio. So the stats should tell you they have the puck. They've outshot teams 395 to 301. And oh, by the way, McDavid missed 3 games. And they're still that high. Only Colorado is better. Or sorry, Carolina is better. They just got to finish. They got to finish. Now, we do have lots of text about, we asked a question about some of your questionable music choices. Some of you just want to get it off your chest. I like that. Hey, guys, I ordered the Baywatch soundtrack. Woof. It was the worst. I got Ace of Base the sign, however. It was deadly from Marky Mark. That was a great. I saw the sign and opened up my eyes. Oh, it's a great song. I used to listen to that one all the time, man. I was playing slow pitch back then in Beaumont. Oof, used to crank that up in the car. I loved it. Woo, Ace of Base was great.
The Baywatch theme song was good.
Did it even have any music? I mean, any lyrics?
Yeah. Something about running and wearing red. I can't remember.
No, I remember them running and wearing red. I don't remember any lyrics that came with it.
That's what I was going to say. After the theme song, I wasn't really paying attention to much of this.
Well, that's what I'm saying. I know the theme song didn't have any lyrics. Well, if it did, I don't know what they were. Everybody just remembers the bounce as they were on the beach.
I watched Baywatch on mute a lot of nights as a child.
Yeah, the intro for sure. Oh, it's too fun. Everybody knows exactly what we're talking about. Oh, because even, you know what, the great part, what about Baywatch? It was an equal opportunist. It had hot guys and hot
the
women.
Hoff, the hottest guy.
I don't know if the Hoff was the hottest guy.
Wow, on Baywatch, you looking pretty good.
Was he?
Oh, yeah.
I have to ask ladies, like, was Hoff that hot for you?
Come on.
I don't know. Like, honestly, I'm not. And like, when I look at guys, I never thought the Hoff was really up there compared to some of the other ones. Like, when you look at guys who say, like, I can see how ladies like, hey, Brad Pitt, good looking dude, right? Like, not much of a question there.
Baywatch era Hoff with the red suit, the flotation device, the pickup truck, the red jacket, his no good son, always learning life's hard lessons.
He had a son in that show?
Darn right he did.
Oh, jeez. Didn't even know that. So, like, I remember Yasmin Bleeth on that show too. Oh, or Casey Jean Parker. Hello.
I don't think the Baywatch soundtrack was that bad of a buy. I'm going to give that.
Well, you don't even know one song.
But we're remembering fondly Baywatch.
No. But that's not the music. That's why Susan Boyle was great when it was on the show. That's the whole purpose of A Terrible Watch. I can see he's saying he bought it because he remembered the beach running. And then when suddenly you're listening and there's no visuals, you're like, God, this is terrible. I get it. That was me with Susan Boyle.
The Susan Boyle episode of Baywatch was terrible.
Yeah.
The Christmas special?
Oh, yeah. Nice. Let's did she have a Christmas song? She probably no. I'm gonna look it up. I think she did.
Oh, she had a Christmas album.
Yeah.
She wasn't on Christmas Baywatch.
Well, no, of course.
That's a different episode.
Could you imagine? Oh my God.
A very Baywatch Christmas.
Oh, yeah, exactly. That would be outstanding. Lowetide would love that episode. Let's get a quick break. We'll come back. Craig Button will join us, and we are going to ask him about the. Should we sponsor Butts in the? Because coming up, Sports 1440, of course, official voice of the North American Professional Pickleball Tour, which is in town next weekend. Is Button? He's talked big on this show for years about his pickleball skills. We'll see. Has he entered in the tournament? We'll find out. But first, let's get to Declan Kruger and a Sports 1440 update brought to you by your Alberta GMC dealers. A Canada-wide clearance is on now at GMC. Get a $7,500 cash credit on a 2024 Sierra 1500 Crew Cab Elevation. For more details, go to gmcoffers.ca.
This is a Sports 1440 update.
And for your Sports 1440 update, 4 games tonight in the NHL. The action getting going at 5 p.m. with the Red Wings in Toronto to take on the Maple Leafs. At 5:30, we'll see the Penguins and Capitals. And 2 games with an 8 p.m. puck drop, the Wild in Anaheim and the Vegas Golden Knights out in Seattle. 13 games today in the NBA. 3 games tipping off at 5 p.m. to start the action. Indiana and Charlotte, Atlanta and Detroit, and New Orleans and Orlando. 7 games today in the WHL, including the Edmonton Oil Kings, who will be in action tonight out in Medicine Hat versus the Tigers with a 7 p.m. puck drop. Sherwood Park and Spruce Grove both going in BCHL action. Spruce Grove at home against Cranbrook, and Sherwood Park out in Salmon Arm, 7 p.m. puck drop for both of those games. Pandas hockey this weekend with a crosstown rivalry against McEwen, 7 p.m. puck drop at the Downtown Community Arena tonight, and a 2 p.m. puck drop tomorrow at the Drake. Golden Bears also in action against McEwen this weekend, a 7 p.m. puck drop at the Drake tonight, and another 7 p.m. puck drop tomorrow at the Downtown Community Arena. News in the sporting world is the Toronto Maple Leafs have placed Austin Matthews on IR, keeping him out of Saturday's game against the Canadiens. I'm Declan Kruger, and this has been a Sports 1440 update.
1440. Stingray Radio Station. CHJR broadcasts from West Edmonton Mall and Wetaskiwin.
Download the free Stingray music app and listen wherever you go.
When interest rates are low, that's a good time to buy a vehicle. And 0% means it's a great time to buy. Right now, St. Albert Dodge can set you up with 0% financing on hundreds of vehicles. Virtually all new 2024 models. Jeep Compass, Wrangler, Grand Cherokee, and Wagoneer. 0%. Dodge Durango and Hornet. 0%. Ram 1500, 2500, and 3500 trucks, all as low as 0%. Why pay interest? Head up the trail and see how easy it is to do business at St. Albert Dodge.
Introducing the Female Super League. Female hockey is on the rise with more women playing the game than ever. Join us as we pave the way for the future of women's hockey. The FSL is more than a game. It's a movement and an experience for the motivated female athlete. Teams will compete in a showcase-style format featuring consistent interprovincial competition. Come be part of the journey as the 2024-25 season unveils a 12U division, as well as the launch of a groundbreaking progressive body-checking 14U division. For more information, visit FemaleSuperLeague.com.
Hey, sports fans, we've got a clear choice for you. At Crystal Glass, we provide customers with the perfect glass for any job. From home to auto and even commercial, installation or repairs, we're your team. Call 310-GLASS or visit crystalglass.ca. Crystal Glass.
Before every big interview, every big presentation, every big moment, I've always looked in the mirror and put on my game face. But lately, my eyes look tired, my brow looks old, and I'm starting to think it's game over.
Stop thinking and start seeing me, Dr. Vance Elliott, for skin refreshing treatments designed to give you a fresh and natural appearance.
He didn't make me look weird. No, he gave me back my game face.
Book your consultation today at drvanceelliott.com.
When was the last time your electricity and natural gas provider made you feel like this? Low rates, no strings attached, year-round perks, and local energy experts who always have your back. With Encore by Epcor. Find that carefree energy feeling at encore.epcor.com/carefree.
Customers are free to purchase natural gas or electricity services from a retailer of their choice. For a list of retailers, visit ucahelps.alberta.ca or call 310-4822 toll free.
Look good, feel good, play good. It's the Jason Gregor Show. Thanks for listening to Sports 1440.
Presented by PlayAlberta.ca, Alberta's only regulated online gambling website.
Oh, yeah. A little extra brass bonanza to get you fired up on a Friday afternoon. How are you, Jason Gregor? Declan Kruger, Wanye Gretz with you on Sports 1440, Oilers Nation, YouTube, and Facebook. Gregor Show is always presented by PlayAlberta.ca, where you can get in the game and use the promo code Gregor50, and you will get a free $50 play this month of November at PlayAlberta.ca. Do like this. Lots of text line in at 833-401-1440. Hey, guys, I've been listening to the podcast for the most part because I'm always out of town, but I'm actually home for the Brass Bonanza today. God, it sounds so much better on the AM airwaves from Drew. Yes. Oh, yeah, you're in your vehicle. You're pumping it up. I like it. It's live because, hey, you know, when the brass comes on, that means the weekend's coming. So it's a good way to kick off your weekend. We get texts all the time. You know what? I have probably, and considering it's only on Fridays, we have lots of people who, teachers at school have the brass now in their schools on Friday for Positive Friday. I have parents who tell me all the time their kids getting home from school, they like listening to the brass. Because, hey, they guess what? You're a kid. That's Friday. Oof. No school for actually 3 days because it's a long weekend. So, and actually some schools, I think they have a PD day on Tuesday. So it's a extra long weekend for the little minions. So nice. Good. Hey guys, it appears that defenses have collapsed on their net, making it difficult to find lanes. With the history of trying to pass it in the net and the Oilers and they're not shooting, many shots blocked or the failure to shoot. Just a thought from Randy. Well, shots, not really a problem for the Oilers. Only Carolina is averaging more shots than the Oilers at 5-on-5. Now, the Oilers' shots on the power play are way down. They've been the best team in the league on the power play for 3 years in shots on goal. None this year. They're 29th last I looked in shots per shot rate. Not good. Now, Bouchard's had way more shots blocked, ridiculous amount high this year, which is odd because he's not really that high when you consider all the other, top line defensemen and how the ones who are on the power play usually you're going to have more shots blocked because, you got penalty killers, guys who excel at it, and that's just what they do. So that's fine. But he's on pace to shatter the NHL record. He's at 55 shot attempts blocked through 14 games. He had 185 all of last season, just to put it into perspective for you. So he's on pace for 322. The record last year, Quinn Hughes led the league at 242. He's on pace for 320, 80 more. So yeah, now I would assume he'll slow down in that regard. But yeah, he's got to get a few more pucks through, no question. But that's not from collapsing the net. A lot of his shots are getting blocked, not even getting they're not getting past the forward. So Oilers getting shots hasn't been their problem. Finishing their shots has been the problem. 833-401-1440. Hey guys, the Baywatch theme song was a banger, and yes, it had lyrics from Honest Annie. Annie, do you know the song? Do you know any of the lyrics though? Because most times when you say a banger, you can sing it on cue. Can you not?
I can hear it in my head right now, but the words aren't coming to me. The vibe is coming to me. Everyone's going to be safe on the beach. That's the gist of it.
Let me look up lyrics to Baywatch theme. I'm always here.
There it is.
I'm not sure that this is a banger.
You should sing it.
Yeah.
In key.
Well, definitely that couldn't happen. There's a lot of I'll be ready, never you fear. I'll be ready forever and always. I'm always here. I'll be ready. I'll be ready.
Beautiful.
Yeah. Well, I'm not sure that's in the banger category. Now, the visual theme song, I would agree. It's like the video, right? Now, if we want to talk greatest videos of all time, we could have an unbelievable episode on the show.
Oh, please do that on a Friday.
Because there's a few that automatically come to mind. I don't want to start it now because we would have to commit more time to it. And we don't have time right now. But I think this is a future conversation to be had because for a variety of reasons. Now, we'd have to have different categories for sure, because there's going to be some videos that are your best purely because you like the visual look of them. And if you're a guy, we're usually talking about ladies. And maybe if it's the ladies, then they're talking about the guys in the video. And that's totally fine. Nothing wrong. There's nothing wrong with a little eye candy. This is the eye candy category. There could be one of those. Then there would be one that would probably have a story line that had a pretty good story that it told. Right? Then there'd be others, maybe a little bit of cinematography. So we'd have to come up with some categories and what would fall under best. Because, I'm not even going to name one because then I'll go down the hole. So I'm going to stop myself because we'll get on the topic. But do you have any other categories?
Well, I'm just wondering if we're going to talk about Baywatch, if you remember Baywatch Nights. And that was the after hours. They started a detective agency, and the office was in the nightclub from Baywatch they were always hanging out in. And then the second season, it went like sci-fi because X-Files was really popular in those days. And I remember watching it, and I was like, oh, this is what would happen if Baywatch and X-Files made a show together that would get canceled after 2 seasons. And it did. Baywatch Nights. Some would argue it was better than the original.
Yep. I don't know. Maybe. I'll be honest, I never watched it.
It's obscure.
Yeah. Hey, guys, something seems off with McDavid. He looks human. He mentioned that he didn't train as hard this summer because you can't win the Cup in October. Is he maybe saving his best for later in the year? From the OG Declan. Well, I don't believe he's saving anything. He had a shorter summer. He just felt like last summer he might have overtrained, so he felt a little sluggish. It's a fair question, and I think it's maybe one that's worth asking. He obviously was banged up because he missed 3 games, but everybody saw the injury. But prior to that, was he banged up? I don't know. Maybe. I don't like to guess on. Sometimes guys just aren't playing the way they want for a variety of reasons. So, if they're the best news for the Oilers is that Connor McDavid will not remain at the quote human level very long. He's just not going to. He's elite, and so the elite will show up. It always happens, and when he does, the Oilers will start winning more frequently. That's the good news for the Oilers, is that despite all this, they're not close in the same hole as they were last year, right? Not remotely close. When they started the season, like 3-9-1, 2-9-1 actually, and then 3-9-1, and then they made the coaching change. But they're not nearly as bad of a spot. And like if you beat Vancouver tomorrow, you're only 2 points back of the Canucks, right? What do you be? 2 back of the Kings. Vegas, you would be 4 back, but they have a game in hand. So, it's not terrible considering like the Oilers at the end of November last season were 15 points back of Vegas and 14 back of both Vancouver and LA. And they caught Vegas, they caught LA, and they just came shy of Vancouver. So, I don't see them going to be in that deep of a hole this year. So, and because the other thing is, I don't see them winning 16 games in a row this year either. So, you kind of have to even things out overall. 833-401-1440 in our inbox. Hey guys, do you know who sang the Baywatch theme song? No, I do not. I looked it up though. It's written by Andrew Spencer. I have no idea who sang it though. Oh no, sorry, Andrew Spencer, and then the songwriters were Joe Henry and John Dandra and a few others. But I guess it's Andrew Spencer. What the hell's that?
No, I'm pretty sure it's the Hoff.
What? He sang it?
Several years after the TV Beach drama premiered, a Baywatch soundtrack was released, included 4 songs performed by Hasselhoff.
Oh, yeah. Okay, later on.
Well, who sang the theme then?
Yeah.
No, Baywatch theme song, David Hasselhoff.
He sang it originally?
Yeah.
Because here it says it was written by, songs by Andrew Spencer.
Written by.
No. Written at the bottom, it says songwriters Joe Henry, John D'Andrea, Jimmy Jamison, and Corey Alerios.
Well, I Googled, does David Hasselhoff sing the Baywatch theme song? And it says David Hasselhoff sings the Baywatch theme song.
Did he sing the original?
Wow.
Maybe he did.
Did he sing the theme for Baywatch Nights? That's where the real money was made.
Dude, maybe. It's like there's Price is Right at night now. Not just the day version. There's 2 different versions.
What an age to be alive.
Sean Brown. We got to bring that up though with Brownie one time. He's got his like doppelganger who's on Price is Right. Trust me, look it up. You'll notice. Hey guys, are there any right-hand shot defensemen with expiring contracts that are available from Darcy? Well, there are some, Darcy, but none that I see that are expiring that are going to be a top 4 defenseman. And really the only one who expires, who's got 1 year after this year, Rasmus Anderson. And I'm going to say right now, like I'm going to put 0 chance on him being traded to Edmonton from Calgary. 0 chance. Though it's one of your biggest rivals. It's not going to happen. So, they can tell you it's going to, oh yeah, we listen. Not going to happen. Okay. So no, there's not. And I think they've looked at it. Now, could there be a guy like Ekholm who had 3 years remaining on his deal? Was it even 4 time of that trade? Because he's got Ekholm have 2 more years. I got to look it up. Does he have 2 more years after this? Because that means he would have had 4 playoff runs with the Oilers. I think that's what it is. So he had the end of that year plus 3, which is great. So I could go down that hole. I haven't looked that far yet. So there might, lots of guys can be traded. The name that surprised me the most was that there's some rumblings out of Buffalo that maybe they might consider Owen Power. Now, he's not a right defenseman, but I'm like, what? That was the case. Whew. Now that seems odd to me, but young defenseman, Chris Pronger got traded. And there's been lots of good young D-men get traded. It's funny. Teams, they just seem a little bit impatient at times with defensemen. So you never know. But God, if he was actually available, it's a guy I would look at. Pretty big fan of Owen Power. I think he's got a lot of potential. And I'm not saying he's going to be like elite top 10 defenseman, because it's hard to be an elite top 10 defenseman. But I think he's going to be quite good. So, guys, Jimmy Jameson co-wrote and sung the Baywatch theme from Ryan, avid Baywatch fan. Yeah, there you go.
I'm looking on Amazon right now. The Baywatch theme is $25 for a CD. This thing's held its value like a gold brick.
Does it come with like visual cues?
You mean the big poster you can fold out and kiss at your leisure?
Potentially. Let's come back. Craig Button. We'll find out. Is he putting his money where his mouth is? Next. The Jason Gregor Show on Sports 1440, Oilers Nation, YouTube, and Facebook.
Ain't it beautiful? The inventory is unprecedented. Volvo Cars Edmonton is proud to boast an amazing selection of in-stock Volvo XC40s, 60s, and 90s. Visit Volvo Cars Edmonton today and experience the exemplary service you've come to expect and the affordable luxury only found with Volvo Cars Edmonton, Canada's only 12-time Volvo Excellence Award winners. Experience the difference.
Volvo of Edmonton.
I'm Colin Livingston, president of Cantork. Since 2016, we've been at the forefront of hydraulic torque wrenches in Canada. I'm delighted to share our latest venture, in-house production for quicker turnaround, superior quality, and heightened versatility. Experience excellence at cantork.com.
Hockey is back, and Play Alberta, Alberta's #1 sportsbook and official partner of the Edmonton Oilers, has you covered with bigger offers, boosted odds, live betting, player props, and more. New to Play Alberta, new players now receive $200 in free bets just for signing up. You already play? Get a $10 free bet for every $100 you bet. Every week, all season long. Visit playalberta.ca and make your picks today. Bonus terms and conditions apply.
Weather forecast? Ugh. Savings forecast? Cha-ching. Save up to $225 on a set of 4 select tires, plus a bonus $50 off any service of $150 at Fountain Tire until December 14th. Restrictions apply. Fountain Tire. We're on this road together.
Take the pain out of airport parking with Park to Go. Your first-class parking experience. Book self-serve and valet parking and save up to 30%. Book now with promo code RADIOYEG. That's Radio YEG.
The legacy of trust and commitment at Denham Ford drives us forward. For over 65 years, we've upheld a tradition of excellence marked distinctly by our unparalleled customer satisfaction. Each vehicle in our showroom mirrors the quality and dedication that won us Canada's prestigious President's Award 51 times over. Denham Ford on the Wetaskiwin Auto Mile or online at denhamford.ca. Join our extended family and drive tradition forward with Denham Ford.
From puck drop to kickoff, it's the Jason Gregor Show on Sports 1440.
Presented by PlayAlberta.ca, Alberta's only regulated online gambling website.
Welcome back on a positive Friday. Hope you're having an awesome day. What a beautiful day. If you haven't been outside, make some time for it. It was awesome. After a few days, a little chill. It's like 14. Oh, it's like tarps off. So nice out there today. It's fantastic. So enjoy. It's supposed to be great today and tomorrow. I think Terra Pines Golf Course is still open, actually, for all of you diehards. If you want to go tee it up, you can.
One time in high school, which was 1873, I can't remember what year, we played golf at Terra Pines on New Year's Day, Gregor. And there isn't a time I don't drive by that golf course. And whoever I'm with, I say one time, and they go, I know. High school golf on New Year's Day. Can you believe it? We live in Miami.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, they never they don't really close. So there you go. If you have the itch, and you're like, I gotta play. Well, good luck. Let's get to our big guest of the day, brought to you by Silent Ice Center, who are hosting the Grand Slam of Curling. Going on the semifinals and finals. Actually, have the last round robin tonight. There are still some select tickets available. Go to silenticecenter.com. The best 16 men's teams in the world, the best 16 women's teams are going head to head. It's been fantastic curling. So you can check it out in person at the silenticecenter.com. As we welcome to the show former NHL GM, of course, scout for a long time. Won a Stanley Cup with the Dallas Stars, ace analyst and scout for TSN. And, I always have him on. He's talked, we love his hockey talks, but he's talked about something for many years here on the show. There is an opportunity to finally see this come to fruition. The question is, will we? As Craig Button joins us. Butts, how you doing?
I'm good. And the way you led into the question, I feel like I have to say, of course we can do it.
Well, no, it's not a we. This will be a you, because Sports 1440 is the official voice of the North American Professional Pickleball Tour, which makes its stop next weekend in Edmonton with qualifiers on Friday. So, Butts, if you ever wanted to see where you were, here's your chance. Professional tour of pickleball.
Come up Friday. Oh boy. Do they have like an open invitation?
You know what? Butts, we're the sponsor. We might be able to get you in. If you want to, you know what? We would look. It's always about who you know, not what you know, as you know.
Yeah, that's good. Yeah, no, isn't it awesome though? You think about, somebody was asking me, about pickleball a couple weeks ago, and they said to me, they go, yeah, but I'm a little bit older. And I said, so I showed them a clip of, I think the lady is 85 or 86 playing pickleball. I said, you know the clip I'm talking about. I said,
yes.
Listen here, you can be this good. I mean, the beautiful thing about pickleball is just like, it doesn't tax you in terms of like tennis or squash. And when you're playing doubles, like it really is a good team sport, and you can play. And there's a perfect example. And the person was like, wow, boy. Like, is she ever good? I said, yep, that's the opportunity. I think it's one of those sports activities that is giving people a real long runway to continue to play and play competitively. That's a wonderful aspect of it.
Oh, yeah. Now, you know what? There's the professional tour, and who knows? Hey, Butts, we've got the senior tour of golf. There's no reason you couldn't join the pickleball senior tour. And not that you qualify yet, but you could.
I love the way you caught yourself.
Hey, I know how it works.
Yeah. Not that you qualify. Yeah. You're a beauty, Gregor. You're a beauty.
Hey, let's get to some hockey talk, Greg. We've talked about this before, but it's now official. Starting August next year, NCAA will allow players from CHL. And we had Dan McKenzie, the president of the CHL, on. And, he was like, I think this is good. It's going to give kids more of an opportunity. When you're 16, you don't have to make this big choice about your education if you don't want just yet. And, you can play there. And then if, later on down the road. So, like, to me, he thinks we could see actually more young American players playing major junior because of this. You agree?
Yeah, totally agree. And, like, because that door pass to the NCAA was closed if you played in the CHL, and a lot of young players, that's the path they would like to go on, and certainly so you have to make that choice. Well, now you don't have to make that choice, and I believe, Jason, last year, and my number might be off a little bit, and I'll include Celebrini in this. there was 31 18-year-old players that played regularly in the NCAA last year.
Mm-hmm.
So it's not like you're not looking for 16 and 17-year-old and 18-year-old players to come and play in the NCAA.
Yes.
So of course, if Gavin McKenna says I want to go play in the NCAA, he's going to go and play because he's that good. But for the vast majority of players, like it's 19, it's 20, it's 21. So when you have 15-year-old kids, 16-year-old kids, they can go and see what the CHL offers. They can go there, and it's not going to work out for everybody. And teams can now not be tied to them. They can trade players. What I've called this, Jason, and we see it in the NCAA, it's a different it's a portal. It's a new portal. It's a transfer portal, which has allowed NCAA student athletes from one school to move to another school, and with no restrictions, basically. So now there's going to be a transfer portal for young players to be able to think about something different, but without the penalty of understanding what they could have done and then now being able to go. Thomas McMillan, who's an associate coach at Denver, he said to me, this is about a month ago, he was up in Alberta scouting, and we were chatting. He said, he was going to visit us, and he goes, oh, geez, he goes, you know what's going to be nice? I don't have to go into the homes of 15-year-old kids with their parents and try to convince them that the NCAA and college hockey and being a student athlete is going to be really good for them when they're 18. He goes, they don't even know what they want to do tomorrow, and I'm trying to convince them of something in 3 years. He goes, so that's good for me. It's good for the schools. It's good for the kids, and it's good for the leagues. Because now the leagues can, and the teams, because they can say, okay, here's what we got to do to keep a player. But if it's not working out, that door isn't shut on a player. And I think that's a real positive. I mean, there's going to be a little bit of a pendulum swing here, and we're going to have to wait to see how some things play out. And Jason, I don't know if you're going to ask me the question, but I'll just lead you into it. But there's going to be some repercussions, and I think those repercussions are going to be for youth sports and junior A hockey in Canada.
Yeah, the youth sports, I think, Craig, is going to really. Hey, sometimes you need competition. You either sink or you rise when you have competition, and I think this is going to force them to improve in how they do things. Like, I think there's lots of players in youth sports that are just as good as the free agents in NCAA, but NCAA has marketed themselves and convinced a lot of the hockey NHL people that, well, these are the free agents we got to sign and give them, we got to get these guys signed right away, and they're getting NHL one-way deals. And you get a lot of guys coming out of youth sports who are getting AHL deals, right? Like I think there's a big difference in how they promote themselves one over the other.
Well, there's no question. And so who else knows that? The players and the agents.
Yeah.
So if you have a choice of saying, well, if you go here, the NHL teams are going to be here and they're going to be throwing contracts at you and they're going to be chasing you, as opposed to going to the youth sports, it's a no-brainer. So to your point, what can youth sports do to try to create an environment where it'll attract interest from NHL teams and then they can sell out to the players? To this point in time, they haven't been able to do that. And I think that's where you're going to see an exodus of players. And you know it, and I know it. There's really good players playing in youth sports.
Yeah.
Now they're going to see a different opportunity that they can take advantage of. And for the NCAA schools, they know it too. They know there's really good players here, and they're trying to raise the level of their play and the talent that is participating in the NCAA.
Will this impact the quality of play in the dub and in the OHL and stuff like that?
I don't know, Wanye. I think that one of the things that has to be determined is what it will look like. I will share this with you. I've talked to a few NHL teams, people with NHL teams, and this is the interesting thing. And now this is speculation, it's hypothetical to this point in time, but I do think it's got a real component to it. You draft a player at 18 years of age in the CHL, and maybe the next year he comes back to the junior hockey. But what about when he's 19? You can't send him to the American Hockey League, and now an NHL team says, "Well, we think it would be really beneficial for you to go to NCAA. You'll be playing against older players. You'll develop physically, and everything like that." That to me is where you're going to look at. And I'm not saying Easton Cowan, drafted by the Toronto Maple Leafs, MVP last year in the regular season playoffs in the Ontario Hockey League. Can't go to the American Hockey League this year. He goes back to London, and it's a good program. I'm not suggesting he would leave there. But do the Toronto Maple Leafs want him to go play in NCAA, get a little bit stronger, work on that part of it? And I talked to a number of that's something that they would encourage.
Now, Craig, if he's signed to a contract, is he allowed to go to NCAA?
No.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
But that's why I said at 18, right? You don't have to sign the player at 18.
Right.
You have his rights for 2 years.
Yeah.
I mean, again, there's going to be some machinations there, right? And I know there's going to be. But and now with the CHL and the NHL agreement, one of the things the NHL teams have been looking for is to have certain 19-year-olds play in the American Hockey League. So what happens if they say, okay, we'll agree to that, so we're not losing players to the NCAA? Well, the Wanye's question, that's gonna impact you if you're losing good players. But remains to be seen. But there's some realistic scenarios that, while we can speculate and hypothesize right now, that I think are going to end up being reality, and how everybody deals with it, and how NHL teams and CHL teams and NCAA entities deal with all this. We're going to see. But I know this and I've talked to a lot of the NCAA coaches. They're not coming after the 16 and 17-year-old players in the CHL. They're coming after the 18 and 19-year-olds. Obviously, they want the 20-year-olds and those guys, but they're going to be recruiting hard on the 18 and 19-year-olds.
Craig Button joins us on Sports 1440, Oilers Nation, YouTube and Facebook. And Craig, what do you make of the Anahiem Ducks? And it's starting to hear some rumblings that the tough love approach from their coach maybe not working there.
Well, I mean, yes, I guess it's like a lot of different approaches, Jason, and we've seen them all, right? Like sometimes one approach works, and then the other approach doesn't work, and then you got to change that approach to go with a different approach. When you're not winning, you start to evaluate, okay, what do we got to do? How do we got to do it? What do we have to change? You look at the Anahiem Ducks, look at how many young players they have in their lineup. They have so many young players. It's hard to win in this league when you have established players. When you have young players that are green as the grass, it's hard to win. So, I think that the reality for the Anahiem Ducks is that they're just not that good. And can they be good in time? Do they have some promising young players? Yeah, they do. But patience and understanding where they're at. Now, what I would say when you ask me about tough love, is it a situation where development is being compromised? Is that affecting our development where we want to move? And that would be, but if it's about straight wins and losses, they've been in games, they haven't been able to score, they're a low-scoring team, but they're a young team, and they're an inexperienced team. So if you're thinking about the tough love approach, working or not working, to me, the evaluation has to be, how is it impacting our development to where we're going, how we want to do that? And I think that to me, if I'm Pat Verbeek, that's the question I'm asking myself. And Greg Cronin, okay, Greg, we got to make sure we're developing and we're pushing and we're moving forward. But we're not going to measure it totally on wins and losses, but we got to measure it on development. And that's where you look at the approach and trying to understand if this is working or not working from my vantage point.
Craig Button joins Sports 1440, Oilers Nation, YouTube and Facebook. Now, Dostal's standing on his head as well in that time for the Ducks. He has been, honestly, he's been unreal. If we were just voting on numbers right now and not where the team record is, Dostal would be the Vezina Trophy. As good as Shesterkin is, Dostal has been amazing. Even Shesterkin had an off night last night. Dostal has been unbelievable for the Ducks.
Yeah, there's no question about it. But you know who didn't have an off night last night was Connor Halley. So
yeah, no, that's fair.
And he's the reigning. But you're right about Lucas. Lucas Dostal has been and which leads to the next part. Okay, so you got Lucas Dostal, young goaltender. What are you going to do with John Gibson? And is there a market for John Gibson? Because there's some teams that need goaltending.
Well, if you're retaining salary, I think for sure there's a market for John Gibson.
Yeah, I'm in with you, Jason. And, I can think of one team that could use it. And they just happen to play just along that path of where the Canadian Rockies move into the United States.
Yeah, maybe. Now, speaking of Hellebuck and the Jets, so they end last regular season 8-0. They outscore teams 35-15. They start this season 13-1. Only the second team in NHL history to start a season 13-1. They're outscoring teams 63-30. So in their last 22 regular season games, they outscored teams 98-45. Dominant. Yet in 5 playoff games in the middle, Craig, they got walloped and allowed 28 goals. Like, if hockey is so unpredictable, I don't get it. They were playing so well. They continued to play well, but for 5 games, Colorado had a game plan and they exposed the weaknesses of the Winnipeg Jets. It was stunning.
Yeah, it was. And they had 110 points last year. They had the lowest goals against in the league last year. And to your point, the run that they had going into the playoffs was tremendous. And now you start to question, okay, do they have the ability to raise their level? And, they've come out this year. They've been really good. Nothing accidental about the record. They've been that good. But everybody's waiting now for the playoffs, right? To show us what you got in the playoffs. Show us what you have. And it's really interesting for players and for organizations. You see what happens. You try to understand what happened, and then you try to say, how do we make sure this doesn't happen again? And the next time you have a chance to really be tested is when the playoffs begin again. And, it's happened 2 years in a row now for the Winnipeg Jets. It happened against Vegas too. And I know they had some injuries versus Vegas, but now, now you get, for Scott Arniel, it's about showing, trying to get the players, okay, here, we can't do anything about that. But really on the first game of the playoffs and in through the playoffs when it begins, that's what they're going to have. And they don't have to prove it to you or me. We may doubt, we may believe. They're going to have to prove it to themselves. But more importantly, they're going to have to show it to everybody else.
Yeah, no, it's very true. A few other teams right now, and around the league, Carolina's playing unreal. But I want to, if you're Carolina, Craig, and you're playing this great, and Marty Necas has been great, and Jack Roslovic's got 8 goals at 5-on-5 for them. Getting in the regular season, this is what the Carolina Hurricanes do. Unfortunately, though, Freddie Anderson gets injured at key times. If you're Carolina and you're Eric Tulsky, as good as your team's playing, can you trust your goalie tandem, skill and health wise, again in the playoffs?
Yeah, and that's a fair question. So it goes back to what we were talking about with the Winnipeg Jets. So you're Eric Tulsky, you're the Carolina Hurricanes, and you're saying, okay, what do we do to make sure that we can have a greater confidence, so we can have a better belief in our goaltending tandem? And the only time you're going to get that opportunity to really test if you're right or you're wrong or what you've done in between is when the playoffs begin. Here's what I'm going to say. And, it may come across as harsh. I'm not putting my chips on Freddie Anderson.
Yeah, I agree with you.
I'm not doing it.
No.
So I'm going to go check off, and I'm going to go find somebody else. End of story. That's what I'm doing.
Yeah. I'm with you. And I think it's a tough decision because when he's on, he's really good. Is he going to be healthy when it comes? Because for the most part, he hasn't been able to be. And I just don't know if you can risk that again. If you're
dear friend, my dear friend, Doug Armstrong has a saying. The problem with injury-prone players is they tend to get injured.
It's very wise.
Hey, Wanye, it is really wise. Listen, for a goaltender, dependability, reliability, availability is a key part of their play. Freddie Anderson doesn't check all those boxes.
No, not at all. Craig, the Edmonton Oilers, a lot of people, they're not as quick. Well, I look at NHL edge speeds and bursts, and the Oilers were a top 2-3 team last year. Guess what? They're the exact same again this season. What's funny is McDavid himself is actually lower than where he was in his top bursts, which have actually gotten faster the last 3 years, minimal from 24.14 to 24.16 to 24.19. And this year is at 22.97 for his top speed so far this season. The Oilers only Carolina's been better 5-on-5 and shooting the opposition 395 to 301. They can't score, Craig. They can't score. And I don't just buy that scoring's luck. There's a little bit, yes. It's a skill. And right now, their best guys simply aren't their best players. And it's not because Ryan McLeod's not here. It's not because Warren Fogel's not here. Their best guys aren't scoring, and their penalty kill stinks. I get it, but so does their power play. But to me, the number one problem in Edmonton right now is their offense, yet everybody wants to seem to try to look at everything else. Oh, goaltending, speed. I'm like, look at what it is. You can't win games scoring 2 goals. It's a fact. You do not win. 8.9% of the time last season can you win a game when you only score 2 goals. That's it. The Oilers got to score.
Love your passion. I think I said this 2 weeks ago, 2.5 weeks ago. I said it on this show with you. I said it on TSN. until the offense comes around, the Edmonton Oilers are going to struggle to win.
Exactly.
Because and the penalty killing, which was great last year down the stretch and in the playoffs, we know, and that's something they got to get up to a higher level, and that goes without saying. But like their offense, like in terms of metrics and what you talked about, all there. But sorry, you got to find a way to score. You got to find a way to get the puck into the net and give yourself that event. Defensively, they're totally coming around again, just like I expected them to. Because Chris Knobloch and Coffey and Mark Stewart, Glenn Goss, they've done a really nice job. And that team knows how to play. But if they don't find a way to score, they're going to struggle to win. It's as simple as that. And your numbers just pointed out. And so, again, it's one thing to talk about, okay, the metrics and the process and everything. They got to get results. And that has to happen for this team right now. I mean, when you start to look at the Edmonton Oilers and you start to see that they are 30th in the NHL in goals for, and Sportlogic data in terms of expected goals has them 9th.
Yeah, they're not scoring. Shoot
goals
the puck.
Against 21st, and expected goals against is 9th. When you're in the top 10 of process, well, you should be top 10 in results.
Yeah.
The offense has to get better. The penalty killing has to get better. That's what I think.
Oh,
and if it doesn't, they're gonna continue to go one game, win, lose, win, lose, win. That's how it's gonna be. So they got some work to do, but it's not like, hey, listen, the Detroit Red Wings. You go look at their metrics. There's only one reason they have as many points as they do. Their goaltending has stood on its head and been phenomenal. The rest of their game is a disaster. And if they don't, and so now you're looking at that team that has to go and fix a whole lot of things.
Yeah.
The Edmonton Oilers do not have to do that and don't find themselves in that spot.
Yeah. Craig, have a good weekend. Limber up. I know there's short notice, but we'll give you advance notice the next time the Pickleball Professional Tour comes through town.
I'm in.
I love it.
Have a great weekend, you guys.
You
really
too, Craig.
Appreciate it.
You bet. That is Craig Button. Always good to have Craig on the show. I love it. Fired up. Not that you qualify yet. That was a good save there. I liked it.
When someone starts a sentence with, I love your passion, they're about to check whatever opinion you just gave them, right?
But he didn't.
No, he didn't, though.
No, it's good. 447, because he has to agree with it, because it's true. Like, and the great part, it's the best, it's the most comforting is the wrong word. To me, it is the most expected skill set on the Oilers. If you would have asked everybody, what's the Oilers' biggest strength heading into the season? Everybody would say offense. Every single person. And it's been their worst strength right now. So once it gets scoring, they'll be fine. Now, the problem is I don't buy into, eventually. Well, when's eventually? It's got to be now. They need home ice advantage unless they want to make their playoff lives way harder. So pitter patter, get at her, start scoring. We'll get back with 5 questions on the Jason Gregor Show on Sports 1440, Oilers Nation, YouTube and Facebook, presented by PlayAlberta.ca.
Today, on November 8th, we honor National Indigenous Veterans Day. A residential school survivor, Noel Knockwood, enlisted with the Canadian Army, served during the Korean War, and went on to become the Sergeant at Arms in Nova Scotia. When asked if he felt at the time the war could be won, Noel said,
I always felt that the war would be won, but history tells us that in war, there is no winners. There's only losers.
Lest we forget.
Noodle, noodle, nood, noodle, nood, noodle, nood, noodle, noodle, nood. Noodle, noodle, nood, 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 noodle, noodle, nood, noodle, nood, noodle, noodle, nood, noodle, nood, noodle, nood, noodle, noodle, nood. Noodle, noodle, nood, 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 noodle, noodle, nood.
Throw a load down to Oodle Noodle tonight because dine-in is open.
We all live in Canada, right? And we all know it gets cold, right? And every second that ticks by, it gets colder and colder. Well, GS Construction is prepared for that. GS Construction is the group that makes sure all those underground pipes that lead to and away from your home stay flowing. Because pipes freeze. You don't want that. So GS Construction has been hard at work as winter approaches, preparing our underground systems to run smoothly. To find out more, visit gsconstruction.ca.
As the Grand Slam of Curling takes place at the Silent Ice Center, Curling Alberta's 50-50 will be supporting grassroots curling in Beaumont. Monies raised will go towards supporting junior curling in Beaumont. So get your 50-50 tickets today at curlbeaumont.ca.
The Canada-wide clearance is on at GMC. Get a $7,500 cash credit on 2024 Sierra 1500 Crew Cab elevation models. With Sierra's 13.4-inch diagonal premium GMC infotainment system with Google built-in compatibility, available off-road package with hill descent control, plus an available 3-liter Duramax diesel engine, you can take the road less traveled and try new things, like fishing or whitewater rafting. I should have gone fishing. Ask your GMC dealer for details.
Get early access to real Black Friday prices now at The Brick. Save up to 65% off select sofas when you buy the matching love seat or chair. Up to 25% off bedroom and dining furniture. Plus, save up to $700 off a big screen TV. And get free shipping on TVs over 50 inches. Find 40% off mattresses and next day delivery on in-stock beds. Plus, save 3 times the tax when you buy 2 or more Samsung major kitchen appliances. Find a lower price before the end of the year, and The Brick will refund the difference. Some exclusions apply. See in store for details.
I have a startling fact. Prostate cancer affects 1 in 6 Alberta men. This could be your brother, son, father, grandfather, or friend. This November, through our Keep It in Alberta campaign, we're raising money to build a new man van, bringing free, life-saving prostate cancer testing directly to Alberta men. Thanks to our partner, the Agate Foundation, every donation will be matched up to $350,000, doubling your impact. Be part of the fight to eliminate advanced prostate cancer. Visit keepitinalberta.ca to donate today.
Notice how the last few months of the year all end in burr? Maybe because that's when the burr really starts. Sherwood Honda helps make sure you're road ready for winter conditions. They can service your vehicle of any make and model, and Sherwood have the tires you need to. When you feel the chill, remember to book an appointment with Burwood. That's Sherwood Honda.
Look good, feel good, play good. It's the Jason Gregor Show. Thanks for listening to Sports 1440.
Presented by PlayAlberta.ca, Alberta's only regulated online gambling website.
.451, Jason Gregor, Wanye Gretz, Declan Kruger, Sports 1440, Oilers Nation, YouTube, Facebook, and X. Thanks as always for watching, joining the show, listening, sports1440.ca. Hey, perfect timing for 5 questions now, brought to you by The Brick, where, hey, the saving continues. Mattresses, 40% off. If you're looking for some appliances, you can save triple the tax on appliances right now at The Brick and thebrick.com.
It's time for 5 questions on the Jason Gregor Show.
All right, question number 1. The Edmonton Oilers draw the Vancouver Canucks tomorrow night. Can we have a score prediction and a bold prediction for the game?
My new thing this year, Declan, because we're doing a lot of predictions at work, is always say 6-1. And then when the Oilers eventually win 6-1, they're going to say, hey, that's the Wanye. So anyways, 6-1. And my legit prediction is that there's going to be power play explosion.
When I look at the Oilers, 6 goals, they got to see him score first. I will say a 4-3 overtime loss. And bold prediction. Well, how about Corey Perry and Vincent Desharnais drop the mitts?
I like that. Question number 2. The CFL playoffs roll on this weekend. The line for the East final is Montreal at -1.5. And for the West final is Winnipeg at -3.5. Where would your money be going this weekend?
It's a good question. Both those games are tight, man. Honestly, I will say, I think I would take the Bombers minus 3.5.
Not knowing what Gregor was going to say, I too said Winnipeg, but I think they're coin tosses. They are tight games.
Question number 3. Los Angeles Kings forward Tanner Jeannot has been suspended for 3 games for his illegal hit to the head of Vancouver Canucks forward Brock Besser. What did you think of the disciplinary response?
I think 3 games was appropriate.
Yeah, I thought there was as much chest as there was head in that one. Like it was close. It wasn't like an obvious, whiplash, everything in the head first and then you hit. Like I thought it was the head chest kind of like it was definitely suspension worthy. So 3 games, pretty good suspension. So yeah, I don't have much of an issue with it. I hope Besser is healthy, and we don't know yet if he's going to play or not. We will find out tomorrow because the Canucks were traveling and did not skate today.
Question number 4. The Bengals fall to 4-6 following their 1-point loss on Thursday Night Football last night. They may be the answer, but I ask you, which team has been the biggest disappointment so far this season, or maybe the biggest underachiever?
Well, yeah, they're up there, but I don't think they're the biggest. To me, the Dallas Cowboys are junk at 3-5, and I think they're only going to get worse. And also, you know what? What about like people thought Jacksonville was going to take a step this year?
That's what I was thinking.
And they've taken a step far. They're 2-7, and now Trevor Lawrence is out. Like, oh my goodness! Like they just like they're not even competitive. People thought, hey, they might win 9-10 games. They've been brutal. So I'm going to go with the Jags.
I'll go with the 49ers just because I've seen so many people at work ruin their fantasy football with McCaffrey being injured and everything like that. I think the injuries they've suffered this year, they're a big disappointment.
And question number 5 on Hypothetical Friday. If you could only have one phrase to say for the rest of your life in every situation, what would it be?
Gregor, you know my classic catchphrase. Whose pickles are these? Say what? I'd use that in every occasion.
I would just use I love you.
Like when you get pulled over, you'd say that to the officer?
You know what?
Right? Like
it's rarely is it met with hostility.
I'm here to give you your annual exam, says the doctor, and you respond,
I love you.
Wow.
Why not? Doc's gonna be, oh, okay, great. Because you can say I love you without it being like in a you say, think about how you say to your friend, hey, I love you, man. Doesn't mean like you want to kiss them. Doesn't mean you're in love with them. It's like you love who they are as a person. So yeah, I think it's a saying that in almost most cases, it's never going to offend someone. Who's going to get really mad? You can, because I can change the inflection on how I say it.
You go say I love you to 100 people in the West End food court. You'll get 100 different types of responses.
You might, yeah, 100%. But rarely would you get that many overly negative. So yeah, that would be mine.
Fair enough.
Yours is going to get a lot worse responses than mine.
Mine was a non sequitur. I think you really believe you could get away with saying I love you to random people.
Well, why can't you?
Stop the next person walking by and tell them that you love them. Let's just record their...
Well, haven't you seen those videos? I'm sure they're all true. People have done it.
What do they do? Say I love you to people?
Yep. And you just see the response of, oh, I need to hear that. Great. Yeah, I don't think it's going to cause that much of a rift. Like, and the thing is, it doesn't mean, because when I walk by people in the mall, I don't say anything to anybody. So why do I suddenly have to start talking to them?
But now you say I love you?
No, I'm not. This was a phrase that you would say when you're actually communicating. When I'm walking down the street, I don't talk to everybody. I don't look at them and, hey, how you doing? I don't say hi to everybody. So I wouldn't suddenly have to say I love you to random strangers walking down the street. You're making up a scenario that's not currently existing.
When I was little, my grandma taught me when you're walking past people like in the street, you should always say hello.
Yeah, I do that 100%. When I'm on the path, anywhere I walk, hello, hi, smile, 100%. Yeah, give them a wave. How you doing? No problem.
I love you.
Or sometimes it's just the nod. Just acknowledge their presence, that they're a human being. That's what I do. Even when I walk outside of Rogers Place and there's homeless people, when I walk, because I go there for practice and there's quite a few people there sometimes in the morning, but where I park and walk by, I'm like, good morning, hi. Like some of those people haven't had anybody even talk to them in a long time. So I don't think it hurts. I've never had a bad reaction because of it. And that's just hello. So there you go. But when I'm walking in the mall, I don't say hello to every person that walks by me. I'm just going to point that out. because there's a lot of people. Hello. There'd be too many. So I wouldn't have to say I love you to them. But I could try it, and I bet you the response wouldn't be that bad. Declan, what would yours be?
I think mine would just be, it would be something like, I like where you're going with the positivity, but I think mine would just be like and like you said, change the inflection on it. Like if I'm ordering food at Subway, like point to the sandwich and she says, you want that one? Like Declan, you want to go tonight? You know what I mean? Like, I just think it works for every situation.
What are you, the Fawns?
I don't, it's just like, so, like it's never hurting anyone. And like,
no,
bad
I know
move too. Like,
but like you need a leather jacket if you're going to do this. Pop the collar. I
could
do
rock
it.
that.
Come in on Tuesday and just say it to Lowetide every time.
And Gregor telling everyone that walks by he loves them. This is quite a pairing. Swing by the mall.
But I do like the Fonz. He was one of the greater TV characters of all time. Just hit the jukebox, boom, music plays. Smooth with remember when Fonz was in the dance off?
Yes.
God. It was epic. It was just dancing for hours. And then he had the final burst of energy to win. And then he almost passed out.
Remember the episode where they jumped the shark and where the statement jumping the shark comes from? And it was the episode of Happy Days where he jumped over Shark Tank on his motorcycle.
Yeah.
Unbelievable.
Henry Winkler, baby.
I thought he was surfing and he actually jumped a shark on a surfboard.
No, it was on motorcycle, as I remember, over Shark Tank. But again, this was 70 years before I was born, and I'm not an old soul like you, Declan.
I gotta look that one up.
I think I'm right on this one because they were doing the season premiere episode in Hawaii.
What?
And I'm pretty sure he was surfing in his leather jacket with the life jacket over
Yes,
it.
it was.
I thought it was a motorcycle.
No, it was on. It was on water skis. Because I remember you're right. Because when you say he had the leather jacket on the water skis, that's what I remember. Yeah. So there you have it.
Also worth noting, Hasselhoff did not sing the theme.
Yes, thank you.
Jim Jameson did.
Yeah.
Well, Google lied, and then in the album review,
or your researching skills maybe you didn't double check. There was no peer review there.
I'm on Discogs.com, and one of the comments is, "Why do they always say Hasselhoff sang the theme? He didn't." So this is clearly a
There you
big
go.
thing.
Exactly, he didn't. I knew he didn't. Come on. Good. When we come back, Jeff Marek is back in the game. He will join us next after Declan Kruger and a Sports 1440 update brought to you by Fountain Tire. They make your seasonal tire changeover hassle-free by offering convenient tire storage. So when you take the summers off, you want to put the winters on, you can store them right there. FountainTire.com, final location near you.
This is the Sports 1440 update.
And for your Sports 1440 update, 4 games tonight in the NHL. The first one getting going right away here. Red Wings and Maple Leafs out in Toronto. Penguins and Caps on the ice at 5:30 and 2 games at 8. The Wild and Ducks and Golden Knights and Kraken. 13 games today in the NBA. Again, 3 games tipping off in just a moment's time here. Pacers and Hornets, Hawks and Pistons, and Pelicans and Magic. 7 games in the WHL. Edmonton Oil Kings in action out in Medicine Hat versus the Tigers with a 7 p.m. puck drop for that one. Sherwood Park and Spruce Grove both going at it tonight in BCHL action. Spruce Grove at home against Cranbrook, and Sherwood Park out in Salmon Arm with a 7 p.m. puck drop for both games. Pandas hockey this weekend, crosstown rivalry against McEwen, a 7 p.m. puck drop tonight at the Downtown Community Arena, and a 2 p.m. puck drop tomorrow at the Drake. The Golden Bears also in action against McEwen with the crosstown rivalry, a 7 p.m. puck drop at the Drake tonight, and another 7 p.m. puck drop tomorrow at the Downtown Community Arena. News around the sporting world as in the NHL, Los Angeles Kings forward Tanner Jeannot has been suspended 3 games for an illegal check to the head against Vancouver Canucks forward Brock Besser, the NHL Player Safety Department announced today. I'm Declan Kruger, and this has been a Sports 1440 update.
Sports 1440 in West Edmonton Mall and Wetaskiwin. CKJR is a Stingray radio station.
Download the free radio player app and listen wherever you go.
Edmonton's premium live music and party venue is
On the Rocks.
Check out Bingo Tunes on Monday. Perform on the best stage in town with karaoke on Wednesdays. Learn how to salsa with Salsa Rocks on Thursdays. And every weekend, OTR goes live.
With your favorite bands on the OTR stage and DJ Kenny K.
For everything that's going on at On the Rocks, give us a follow.
Facebook, Instagram, or Twitter.
At On the Rocks, EDM.
Eat well, party hard.
On the Rocks.
On the Rocks.
On the Rocks. Open every day till 2 a.m.
You've got a go-to coffee spot, a trusted barber, even a lucky game day jersey. But When it's about looking your absolute best, there's only one name you need: Mr. Dirk. Family run since 1939, we're experts in crafting impeccable tailor-made suits and offering a wide variety of everyday styles. Pair that with personalized one-on-one fittings and the convenience of on-site tailoring. Mr. Dirk elevates your style game. Visit our Edmonton store or explore MrDirk.com. Score big on style with Mr. Dirk.
Get ready to revolutionize your job site with Edmonton Kubota's game-changing compact construction equipment. From mini excavators and skid steers to track loaders, carriers, and utility vehicles, they have a model to fit every need, all powered by legendary Kubota diesel engines. These machines are built for performance and reliability. Transform your work with Edmonton Kubota's top-of-the-line compact equipment. Visit them today and see why they're the name you can trust for power and precision.
Raise a smoothie to any friend you've had since 1999. That's a good friend. And Booster Juice was there, now celebrating 25 years in Canada and more than 450 locations from coast to coast. A silver anniversary splashed with lots of oranges. Celebrate 25 years of Booster Juice with the return of OG favorite smoothies like the Marathon, the Original, and the Orangesicle, made with oranges, orange sorbet, and vanilla frozen yogurt. Happy 25th Booster Juice. Download the Booster Rewards app today.
Hockey is back, and Play Alberta, Alberta's #1 sportsbook and official partner of the Edmonton Oilers, has you covered with bigger offers, boosted odds, live betting, player props, and more. New to Play Alberta, new players now receive $200 in free bets just for signing up. You already play? Get a $10 free bet for every $100 you bet every week all season long. Visit playalberta.ca and make your picks today. Bonus terms and conditions apply.
Employee pricing is on now at GMC. Get up to $10,104 off select 2024 Sierra 2500 AT4 models. Make loading easier than ever with the world's first 6-function multi-pro tailgate. Make hauling easier than ever with up to 14 available camera views, including transparent trailer view. And make finding tunes easier than ever with a class-leading 13.4-inch diagonal center touchscreen. Yeah, let's get to work. Ask your GMC dealer for details.
I couldn't ignore it. Everyone kept saying, "You look so tired."
Are you getting enough sleep, dear? Hon, you look like you need some rest.
But I'm not tired. I guess I just look that way.
But you don't have to. I'm Dr. Vance Elliott, and I provide skin-refreshing treatments designed to give you a fresh and natural appearance. Don't worry, we won't drastically change how you look, but we will help you look as energetic as you feel. Book your consultation today at drvanceelliott.com.
From puck drop to kickoff, it's the Jason Gregor Show on Sports 1440.
Presented by PlayAlberta.ca, Alberta's only regulated online gambling website.
Positive Friday. Welcome back. Your work week, for most of you, officially over. You made it. Good work. And, you know, it's a long weekend coming up. Of course, Remembrance Day. And a huge shout out for all of those veterans who done work that most of us would never, ever want to do. And thankfully, because of your sacrifice for those who aren't with us, most of us never have to worry about doing something similar in a World War I or World War II or anything like that. There are lots of people still currently active who are engaging in situations that most of us would never want to do. So a heartfelt thank you to all of the active members who are protecting the country or fighting other countries' battles, or just trying to protect other people in different places of the world. It's is a tough gig, no question about it. I could not. I have the ultimate respect for those who ultimately make that choice, and that's what they want to do for profession. So good for them, and take a moment for sure on Monday to remember it and think about it. Like, you can be frustrated with certain things that go on in our world today, in our society. But I can tell you that we live in one of the greatest countries ever. If you actually took time and went and lived somewhere else, you'd be sprinting to come back over the majority of places in the world. It's just the truth. So, it's great. Hey, you can voice your opinion here. In some places, you can't voice your opinion. Just imagine that. Couldn't have a show like this unless it was all just, everything's great, everything's wonderful, the government's awesome. Oh, that would be the worst. The worst. So, thank you for all of those who helped win the war and not have us in the dictator fascist country. It's nice. Now, let's get to Inside the Room, brought to you by Action Electrical, where, they take action on your savings. And right now, for companies, you can get a huge rebate, the ITS rebate of over $150K when you learn more. They'll help you know how to get all your savings on your commercial solar at actionelectrical.net. Our next guest has been in the hockey world, big wrestling fan, if you go way back in his early days, and is coming out back into the sports hockey broadcasting world with the Nation Network and a show, The Sheet, in reference to the ice sheet, I assume. Jeff Marek joins us. Jeff, welcome to the show. How you doing?
I am well. Do you want to hear a story about how a veteran saved a hockey player's career? I loved hearing you talk about the veterans. I'm actually in Erie right now, Pennsylvania.
Oh, nice.
My kid's at a hockey tournament. Tomorrow, the Erie Otters are playing the Sarnia Sting. It's Veterans Appreciation Night. So rather timely that you bring that up. But I was hearing you talk about our veterans, and I was thinking to myself, all the brave men, women, and animals. And I always throw in, horses and dogs, and animals served for us as well. And I was thinking about a story that David Clarkson told me.
Oh, right.
So David Clarkson, when he was first drafted, this would have been drafted by the Belleville Bulls of the Ontario Hockey League. And
Okay.
his first year, I think George Burnett may have been the coach. I might be wrong on that, but I think it was George Burnett. I know Dave's a 16-year-old guy. 16-year-old guys, you know what the deal is in junior hockey, Jason. Like, you're not going to get a lot of ice. And he's really frustrated, and he's not having a good time, and he's really having a tough time with it. He goes home for Christmas, and he says to his mom and dad, he says, I think I'm going to quit junior hockey. I'm just going to go, I don't know, play tier 2 or whatever, and just have fun with hockey. But, at the highest level, like, I'm just not enjoying myself. I'm going to quit. And his parents said, okay, that's fine. That's your decision. You made your decision. That's fine. We only have one request of you. And David said, what's that? He said, before we're going to allow you to quit, you go tell your grandfather you're going to quit. And Dave said, he told me, he said, I got like shivers. I was terrified to tell my grandfather. He said, I said to my dad, I said, Dad, I can't tell Grandpa that I'm going to quit. He served. I can't tell someone who served in the Army and fought for our country that I'm going to quit. And his dad said, well, I guess you're going back to Belleville then. He went back to Belleville, ended up getting traded to Peter DeBoer and the Kitchener Rangers, ended up winning a Memorial Cup, won a Stanley Cup with the New Jersey Devils, got life-changing money for the Toronto Maple Leafs when he became a free agent. It's all because, and rightfully so, he couldn't tell his grandfather, who served for our wonderful country, that he wanted to quit the OHL. That's a great move by the parents. Oh yeah, you can quit. Go tell your grandpa that you're going to quit. We didn't have the option to quit so many years ago.
Yeah, in a much tougher situation that you were going through. So why you want to quit? Well, I'm not getting as much ice time as I want. Ooh, wow.
Poor guy. Oh, boo-hoo.
Yes.
Go tell Grandpa.
Yeah.
Tell Grandpa that.
It's a very astute young David Clarkson to be like, yeah, I'm not even gonna realize. Hey, maybe it's not that bad. Little adversity is never going to hurt anybody at all.
He said it was a great lesson for him. He said it was a great lesson for him. Anyway, how are you, Jason? Good to talk to you, pal.
Yeah. So what's the premise of The Sheet going to be?
The Sheet. The metaphor is it's kind of twofold. Like you nailed it with the sheet of ice, but also like score sheet, game sheet,
Okay.
that kind of vibe. You know, if you're going to get in the game, get on the sheet. Just sort of metaphor or motif for this entire project. It's going to be a daily show. There's going to be, and I think you'll like this one, Jason. There's going to be a historical series that I do online on social media, and it's interesting. You know, Brad brought me in with Brass Bonanza. One of the first sort of hockey history bites that I'm going to do is, and I don't know if this is out there or not. If it is, you probably know it. There is one person, and this person's still in the NHL, who's, I don't want to say singularly, but was the voice of the movement to kill the Brass Bonanza in Hartford.
Brian Burke.
No, Brian Burke wanted to keep it. But this is the story of who actually killed the Brass Bonanza. It wasn't Brian Burke. He was the GM. You're right about that. But he was the one that ended it. I'm going to tell that story. One of the first ones.
All right.
It's a good one. There's going to be it's going to be interesting to see what the reaction is. I'm not sure if this is. You find these little historical nuggets along the way, right?
Right.
So I think I'll probably put that one out first. And there's a couple of other things. You know, I'm going to be doing some junior hockey, some prospects as well. Getting the chance to work with Stephen Ellis, who's such a emerging star in the hockey prospect space.
Oh yeah,
that's going to be a lot of fun. Doing some work with PWHL for Nation Network as well. So it's kind of like this. I don't want to say 360 because there's almost more, but it's 360 a look at hockey as I can kind of come up with, and sort of treat it like an entire ecosystem, not just the NHL. Although, I mean, I'm guessing the lion's share of the coverage is going to still be National Hockey League.
And so it's going to air daily. What time?
Yeah, 3:00 Eastern.
3:00
Eastern, noon Pacific. Yeah, that's when we're going to fire off. And it's on YouTube, so it's going to be like a 64-minute show, a 68-minute show, a 52-minute show. You know how that kind of works.
Yeah, like approximately an hour is basically what you're saying.
Ish.
Give or take.
A lot of ish.
An hour-ish, right?
Ish.
So
Ish.
will there be guests?
There'll be guests. There'll be guest co-hosts. There'll be guests. One of the things that's really interesting about what we do is, we have the ability, I'm always thinking, Jason, about time slot and what time of day am I talking to people and what's the expectation. Like the morning show is going to have to be, what happened last night, like just by the necessity of the virtue of them being on first thing in the morning. Noon, that starts to change, and you start from looking backward to looking forward a little bit of what's coming up in the afternoon, what's coming up in the evening. 3:00 is kind of a interesting place out east and out west. I think it's enough time away from the games the night before that you can tell stories and focus in on issues. So like, the big, the burning one today is a Tanner Jeannot hit on Brock Besser. So, one of the ideas that I was talking with my producer about the other day is, take that, 360 view of that incident. You get the discussion online, you get the discussion from the Los Angeles Kings side of it, from the Vancouver Canucks side of it, and you sort of create this entire view of one single event. So I think we're going to probably be doing a lot of things like that. There's going to be a lot of things you would expect: the news of the day, what's the current trend, what's happening this evening, injuries, news, trades, all of it. Which teams are on the hot seat, who's coming, who's going, all those things. But I also want to try to make this as issue oriented a property as I can.
Jeff Marek joins us. Jeff, you're of course on the national broadcast for Sportsnet for a long time, and you're in the public eye. You're on all the big stages for the National Hockey League, and when you're in the public eye, there's when you get let go of a place, everybody knows about it. How was that for you? Because a lot of times, if somebody gets let go, people don't really know about it. How was it?
Yeah. I mean, it was the first time that I went through that publicly. Well, here's how I looked at it. I had no right to be upset about that being a news item, right? Because through my work for a number of years, I've helped create news items that have put other people in the public spotlight. Like, how hypocritical would it be of me to take a sort of confrontational stance to that story and that situation? Oh, this isn't right. How is this happening to me? It's like, and my wife would always say to me in the summer, you've done this to people before. You don't have the right to be upset about any of this. You know what I mean? I mean, it is interesting. You know, after a while, you just, I spent so much time with my wife just sort of laughing at all the rumors that just weren't true. But I mean, listen, you know, in the absence of a clear story, you know, when that vacuum tends to get filled with you know, horrible at times rumors. But listen, like we all work in this industry, Jason. We understand how this works. You know, none of it was, you know, upsetting. I just sort of looked at it as, well, okay, it's my turn in the barrel now. You know, so it was, put it this way, it was an interesting summer. But the one thing, and I hope that it never happened to people like it happened to me. But I hope that, you know, I hope that you and I hope that Brad, everyone involved in the show, all of your listeners and viewers, like, I hope that everybody gets a chance to know exactly where they stand with their friends and their colleagues. Because that was one of the things that was most revealing to me, Jason. You know, who was there to support and who just bailed and who went out of their way to sewer me. And I know it all now. So I got it all in my hip pocket. I know who's with me, and perhaps more importantly, I know who's very much against me.
Yeah, well, and that's fair. You know what?
Great question. Great question.
Yeah.
Great question.
Well, because I think it's important for people. Sometimes people, you know, they see it, your name gets out there, and you know, you're obviously, you know, Sportsnet owning the rights, and there's no bigger broadcast holder for, you know, you're on all the broadcasts, right? You're there all the time, so you know, people see it, and
you know, it's if I can just pause and talk about that for a second. Like I had 13 really great years there.
Yeah.
You know, like I met a lot of wonderful people, had some tremendous experiences. You know, like I still, even though I talk to Elliot all the time, like, I mean, I miss working with Elliot.
Yeah.
A lot of people that I miss working with, you know, Matt Marchese, who is my producer and is now the host of the Noon Eastern show on the local radio station there. Like there's a lot of wonderful people that you meet in this industry. And that's, you know, I'm gonna very much miss that. But I had a great time at Sportsnet, just like I had a great time at CBC before that.
Jeff Marek joins us. When is your show debuting?
I think we're looking at December 2nd. Put that in pencil, not in pen, but I think that's the day that we're probably looking for this one.
Okay.
And I'm going to be dragging you onto this property as often as I can too.
Oh, sure. Hey, buddy, anytime. Quickly, let's get some NHL thoughts from you, because obviously I know you're watching that, and I know you watch a lot of junior, which will be great. You look what story has caught your attention most through the first month of the NHL season?
Maybe I'm just a negative guy, but the Buffalo Sabres story, just because there's so much riding on it, right? There's so much on the line. You know, there are some teams in the NHL that, you know, the only question to be answered happens in the playoffs, right?
Yeah.
Like that's Edmonton. Like I know that Edmonton's going through a little speed wobble. We all understand that. I don't get a sense that there's any panic in the organization, but still, all their answers are in the playoffs. Toronto Maple Leafs, all the answers are in the playoffs. Like that's it. And then there's a team like the Buffalo Sabres. And, you know, you and Frank have been talking a lot about this on your podcast. You know, what can Kevin Adams do? You know, he's on the phones trying to make a deal. Frank today with Tyler was talking about, you know, another top six forward that he's looking forward to add to the mix. The problem is, you know, you don't want to give up, you know, what the sort of prices demand right now. But, you know, I do wonder, considering how many jobs are on the line, and make no mistake about it, like internally, everybody knows if there's no playoffs this year, there's no job. There's no jobs next year.
Yeah.
Like it is a full knock the chess pieces off. So it's for the Buffalo Sabres. It's not so much, I'll put it to you this way, Jason. It's not as much an 82 game season as it is 82 one game seasons. That's the way it feels for the Buffalo Sabres. Every game in itself feels like an entire season because the stakes are so high for everybody involved. And that's why I do wonder if Kevin Adams, and I'm not just saying that he does it just to save his job, but understanding what this would mean to the organization if it's another season of failure, if he does go all in and tries to pull off a blockbuster that ends up shocking everybody.
Well, it would be fascinating because the NHL needs a little bit of big trade here. It's been a while, so it could. And there's a few teams that at the Anahiem Ducks, I wouldn't be shocked either as a team that maybe Pat Verbeek, does he get frustrated with all the youth? Which I never blame. Like if you have all the kids and you think you're going to win, it never works. But teams keep trying to do it.
You're right. It is so hard. This is such a hard league to play in. Obvious statement, 3,486,000 from yours truly. This is such a hard league to play in. Yeah. And this is the cautionary tale. When you take it down to the nuts and bolts, take it down to the studs, it's hard to get off the mat. Look at the Montreal Canadiens. I thought that they'd be better this year. Wrong. Now all that Montreal's probably thinking about, not Martin St. Louis, but the office above him, is we just got to make sure we stay in the top 10 for the lottery. We just got to make sure that we stay in that position here. Yeah. Like that's where it's already at for the Montreal Canadiens. It is so hard when you strip it down. There was once upon a time, and this is gone now, right? This is completely gone. We've seen so many coach firings lately.
Yeah,
we've seen so many coaching dismissals, and like Jason, like you're old enough to remember the saying, "I owe the coach a trade before I make a decision on them."
Yeah.
Like now, given what the salary cap is at and how you have to not just measure player for player, but dollar for dollar, the idea of I owe the coach a trade is gone.
Yeah.
Like honestly, Jason, when was the last time you heard a GM say, I owed this coach a trade?
I don't think ever.
Happen.
No.
Right?
No.
This used to be commonplace. Oh, they're not going to fire the coach until they give him a trade. Shake up the room, see if they can do that. That day's gone.
Yeah.
Now, I do wonder if we get back to it with more cap space, as the salary cap goes up. But that idea that you owe a coach a trade, yeah, those carefree halcyon days for the bench bosses are gone.
Well, Jeff, welcome to the Nation Network, and we look forward to the debut of the sheet, and we'll be talking to you often.
Awesome, I appreciate it. Good to be on. Good to be a teammate of yours, Jason.
You betcha. There you go. That's Jeff Marek, the sheet tentatively debuting in December on the Nation Network. So should be fun, and some interesting angles that Jeff will uncover. I like that. A little bit different, so should be fun. And he'll get off the air just when we're starting. So perfect. Go right from his show, join us, and we'll join him. It'll be great.
What a company, hey, Gregor? Jeff Marek, you, Frank, Bag Milk, luminaries.
Yeah.
That's a good roster, man.
Well, dude, I'm proud that the company that we started, then we sold it.
Yeah.
But it's nice to see how it's grown, and two schmucks and another schmuck and Jay that were able to build it into something pretty good.
It's still going.
No, yeah,
it's legit. That was all we ever wanted. Be legit.
Yeah, it's true. Quick break. Lowetide will join us next. Oilers, Canucks. Lots of talk about the game, and we know the offense needs to show up. We'll try to put our heads together and think, like, what can it do to show up? Because I think there's a few things that they're trying that aren't working that need to stop. So we'll get to that and more when we return on the Jason Gregor Show on Sports 1440, Oilers Nation, YouTube and Facebook, presented by PlayAlberta.ca. Use the promo code Gregor50 and get a free $50 play in the month of November at PlayAlberta.ca.
Japa Machinery Group knows that XCMG may not roll off the tongue, but Japa's team will help keep your construction jobs rolling on time and on budget with heavy equipment sales and rentals. Visit japamachinery.com to find out more.
Weather forecast? Ugh. Savings forecast? Cha-ching. Save up to $225 on a set of 4 Select tires, plus a bonus $50 off any service of $150 at Fountain Tire until December 14th. Restrictions apply. Fountain Tire. We're on this road together.
You got a go-to coffee spot, a trusted barber, even a lucky game day jersey. But when it's about looking your absolute best, there's only one name you need. Mr. Dirk. Family run since 1939. We're experts in crafting impeccable tailor-made suits and offering a wide variety of everyday styles. Pair that with personalized one-on-one fittings and the convenience of on-site tailoring. Mr. Dirk elevates your style game. Visit our Edmonton store or explore MrDirk.com. Score big on style with Mr. Dirk.
Day or night, tasting just the right. You can order oodle noodle at oodle-noodle.ca, delivering you the news almost right away. Remember, you can order oodle noodle at oodle-noodle.ca. So stay on your couch all day and order oodle carousel.ca. Oodle-noodle.
Get early access to real Black Friday prices now at The Brick. Save up to 65% off select sofas when you buy the matching love seat or chair. Up to 25% off bedroom and dining room furniture. Plus, save up to $700 off a big screen TV and get free shipping on TVs over 50 inches. Find 40% off mattresses and next day delivery on in-stock beds. Plus, save 3 times the tax when you buy 2 or more Samsung major kitchen appliances. Find a lower price before the end of the year and The Brick will refund the difference. Some exclusions apply. See in store for details.
The job isn't done until the last load is hauled, and having a semi-trailer out of commission is not an option. Whether replacing or adding to your convoy, Edmonton Trailer has a huge inventory of new and used semi-trailers, trusted by the gravel, logging, oil field, fluids, and freight industries. Find a trailer right for you online or at one of their 3 locations. For sales, service, parts, rental, and finance, when you're in it for the long haul, Edmonton Trailer.
You've heard people say dream big and think about your future. Well, at GS Construction, we live by those words every day. You see, GS Construction lays pipes in the underground systems in your area. So we don't just think about today. We think about tomorrow and the future of Edmonton's communities and neighborhoods, the places we call home and the places we will call home. We're there when new neighborhoods are developed and return when it's time to replace them. For more on what we do, go to gsconstruction.ca.
As the Grand Slam of Curling takes place at the Silent Ice Center, Curling Alberta's 50/50 will be supporting grassroots curling in Beaumont. Monies raised will go towards supporting junior curling in Beaumont. So get your 50/50 tickets today at curlbeaumont.ca.
Weather forecast? Ugh. Savings forecast? Cha-ching. Save up to $225 on a set of 4 select tires, plus a bonus $50 off any service of $150 at Fountain Tire until December 14th. Restrictions apply. Fountain Tire. We're on this road together.
Worried about your debt but don't know how to deal with it? My name is Parveen Middleton, and I'm a licensed insolvency trustee at BDO here in Edmonton. I talk with people about debt every day, and I understand how stressful your situation can be. During a free consultation, I can show you how to lower your payments and become debt-free. I can offer you immediate relief from that overwhelming stress. Call 1-833-BDO-TALK or visit bdodebt.ca to learn more.
Roll into fun with Bowl Canada. Our kids' bowling leagues are the perfect way to let your child make new friends and learn new skills. Visit bowlcanada.ca now to get rolling. Let's make memories one frame at a time.
'From puck drop to kickoff, it's the Jason Gregor Show on Sports 1440.
Presented by PlayAlberta.ca, Alberta's only regulated online gambling website.
.533, welcome back. Gregor, Wanye Gretz, Declan Kruger on a lovely Friday afternoon. Hope you have big plans for the weekend. Got a little extra time. Also, a big shout out to Kate Gulkson, who's running everything online, making it smooth through the week. Big thanks. Her and Deck helping out as the con man is on father duty now. A new chapter in the Halley's life. As young Benjamin is a week old today. 1 week today. So by now, Connor should be an expert in changing diapers. First week, that's the time I've always said. You want to bank your diaper changing early days. Do as many as you can the first few months. That's easy peasy. Even the first 6, whatever. So once they get into that real food stuff, that's when you're just like, whew, try to skip a few of those. Guaranteed. That goes. Now, hey. Back in the day when old Lowetide, they don't have cloth diapers back then. So might have been a different challenge. We'll find out next as we get to the oil report brought to you by Volvo Cars. Edmonton, they are Canada's #1 Volvo dealership. Why? Because they have great vehicles, but even better service. 13-time Excellence Award-winning service and sales. Stop in, test drive the XC90s or they plug-in XC90 hybrids The 2025 models are in at volvocarsedmonton.com. LT joins us. LT, yeah, you were a cloth diaper guy, weren't you?
We did. We tried it. We just it's too much work. You can get a diaper service, and one thing I will say is within 6 months of having a child, you go from geez, I don't want to do that to changing a diaper with one hand and eating a cheese sandwich with another. It just becomes so routine.
Oh yeah, it's true. Like it is something that some people struggle with. And then once you get used to it, it's like whatever. But it's always changing your own kid's diaper, no big deal. Someone else's, maybe I'll pass.
It's like a crying kid in a restaurant. Your kid's crying. Oh dear, what's wrong? Somebody else's kid, not so much.
It's very true. Kind of like how hockey fans are, Alf. The other teams aren't scoring. Nah, whatever. Your team's not scoring. It's a big deal. And it is a big deal. So when you look at it, Al, for the Oilers, everybody knows they're not scoring. So we're going to try to find out what solutions do you think could arise to see them suddenly start scoring?
Well, first of all, they don't get a lot of power plays, but even with that, it's inexplicable that they're as bad as they are on the power play. So I would say Evan Bouchard can't get shots through, and maybe it's because the opposition is sort of over cheating for that. So maybe do something else. If you're thrown to the same wideout all the time, pretty soon he's double teamed. Maybe you should do something else. I just think that the Oilers they're in a funk. Their best players aren't their best players. They look like they're in a fog. When they started the year, they couldn't pass and they couldn't hit the net, and it was awful. Now they can hit the net, but not often enough, and it's not going in. I think that somebody is going to score. It's going to go in off somebody's butt, and they're going to go catch fire and score 7 goals. Maybe it'll be tomorrow night, but I do think that they are a little bit predictable in some areas, and also the effort level that they had when McDavid was gone sagged a little bit in the third period. I thought they played well against Vegas. Don't get me wrong, but they started running around. They weren't buying into Vegas's run and gun until they were, and then when they were, they lost the game.
Yeah, like I will say, I thought that was one of the better games. Like that was as close to a playoff game as you'll see this season. It was back and forth. It was 10. Now there wasn't a lot of physicality, I'll say, on either side, to be honest. But you know what? Edmonton made a few big errors, and that obviously. And to me, it was as much about effort errors as it was execution errors.
Yeah, and I'll defend Stuart Skinner all day. He needed to have that long shot on the penalty kill. The PK is some of these guys are headed for the glue factory if things don't turn around, and they needed that kill and they didn't get it. And so Nuge looks like the GOAT. Stuart Skinner doesn't look good, but for the most part, if the first 2 periods are repeatable, they'll have success. Vegas is a hell of a team. They're off to a great start. That blasted stone is just an absolute killer. But I do think that they sort of bought into Vegas's run and gun there later in the game, and that was probably a mistake.
Yeah. What do you make of why do you think Jeff Skinner can't get an extended look in the top 6?
That's my pet peeve. He's such a guy. I didn't know how. I watched him. I knew he was a good player, but he's got great balance. He can make moves. He can pass brilliantly, and he's perfect for McDavid. They had a little bit of a slow start in that game, and then the second and third period, I thought they played well. They didn't score, but they had good chemistry, and then it's back to Nuge. The only thing I can think of is they like Nuge because he's got that two-way acumen, and he's got that defensive conscience, and Skinner was the trailer, although Evan Bouchard God's earth was he.
No, you can't. I can't blame Skinner on that first goal. No chance.
Well, I could if he was on the play. Bouchard just has to be anywhere where he wasn't.
Yeah. Well, Bouchard didn't even move his feet. That was the thing for me. It was like he was skating in quicksand. He's just kind of like, oh, all right, I'm not going to move here. And that's rare because Bouchard's defensive game, I really haven't had much of an issue with it up until that one play.
No, he's played. Look, he's had a really tough start to this year, but this tough start that I noticed was getting shots through. Up until that game, he'd been, he and Ekholm had been pretty good. I'm loving Nurse and Kulak. I think the coaching staff is coming up with some solutions, but maybe that's what they need. Maybe they need, in the middle of the second period on Saturday night, it's a 1-1 tie, and the coach says, "Ah, to hell with this noise. I'm going to put Skinner and Hyman out with McDavid." And maybe they cash a couple of times in a couple of shifts, and that changes it, because your best players have to be your best players.
Oh.
And McDavid has not been there. That's the truth. But I know he will be, because he, every year he goes through a short lull, and then the rest of the league pays for it for the entire year.
Al Mitchell, aka Lowetide, joins us. LT, CFL East and West Finals. Saskatchewan and the top 4 teams are in. Both home teams won last week. Saskatchewan now goes to Winnipeg. Toronto goes to Montreal. Are we seeing a homer weekend again, or which road team do you think can get an upset heading to the Grey Cup?
Well, I think Montreal last weekend they didn't play, so I'm going to stay with that. They play this time, so I'm confident. But I think Saskatchewan's going to upset Winnipeg. I think their defense is going to play a massive game, helped out by Declan's cheering them from Edmonton in his apartment. And I think they'll win. I do. I think that the Saskatchewan Roughriders will win the game. We'll have a repeat of the too many men on the field game. And God knows what's going to happen in that one. But I do think it's going to be the Roughriders and the Elks.
Oh, I like that little repeat. Rider fan, geez, won't be any PTSD from that one at all, I'm sure. Like, if it's Saskatchewan and Montreal, no one will bring that up in Grey Cup week.
No, that's the other thing. It's like that one play where everybody realizes that it's like a mistake, even though, it would have been a great result for Saskatchewan. That play will be played probably 4,000 times across Canada at the various networks, just because it was like such an impact moment in the Canadian Football League.
Oh God, yeah, no question about it. It is one of the. It's iconic for a lot of bad reasons, but still, it's an iconic moment because it's just something you don't see very often. And you had it. You literally had the game won. Like, there's very few times when you can say that penalty cost us a game, but that is one where you can say without question, it cost you the game because you had the game won.
Yeah, it's like, and it doesn't matter. Like, it's like Don Cherry not saying that Don Marcotte was the guy on the ice who shouldn't have been, although it lives in my dreams. The reason you play all year and do things a certain way is so you don't have those moments where you make a mistake, like you're on the field when you shouldn't be, because it's an absolute killer. And there was a redo for Montreal, but there's no redo of the correct play for Saskatchewan.
No, not at all. Well, T.O., what about your Eagles?
Well, they're brilliant. No, I always get nervous. I'll tell you, I think the coach will get fired. I don't know when, because they're going well, but they're inexperienced in some tough spots, including the lines. And first of all, Washington is killing me. What is wrong with them? Don't they know that they're the Commanders? They can't win the division.
Oh, buddy, their young quarterback is so exciting to watch. Like, I know it's painful, but for guys in the division, but Jaden Daniels will be unbelievable this season.
Yes, and I'm loving the rest of the division. The Cowboys are like, this is gold for me watching the Cowboys disintegrate. And then the Giants are, I haven't seen Strutty lately, but man, I just love what the Giants are doing.
Well, if his hair could fall out faster than it already is, it might be, because it's been a stressful time for old JS on the Giants. So the good news is he's got a young running back that he very much likes. So you never know.
Yeah, well, and there's always hope for the future, because sooner or later they'll draft a reasonable quarterback. They did 30 years ago. They'll do it again.
Al, have yourself a wonderful weekend. We'll chat with you Tuesday.
Yeah, boys, and I just want to say, I heard you guys talking about the nation and about the build and about the hard work. You guys should be proud of that. That was a hell of an enterprise, and it was. At the beginning, it was just like, three guys in a baggie, but my God, it really has become something else, and you should be very proud.
Oh, thanks, Al. Appreciate that.
Thanks, LT.
All right, good weekend.
There you go. That's Al Mitchell, aka Lowetide. Jason Gregor, Wanye Gretz. When we return, it's Wanye's World on the Gregor Show, presented by PlayAlberta.ca. We got a lot of text to end the week. I always like ending the week with some text after Wanye's World. 833-401-1440 in our E-Well inbox. Your partner in power since 1975 for all your electrical gear needs. EWEL.ca.
Today, on November 8th, we honor National Indigenous Veterans Day. Thelma Julia Chalifoux was the first Métis woman appointed to the Senate of Canada. During the Second World War, Thelma volunteered in soup kitchens. She also joined the Military Reserve Force and worked in a Salvation Army canteen. In an interview done by Veterans Voices of Canada, Thelma remembers.
Quite emotional because, we would get the paper and the casualty lists, pages and pages, and it was people we knew.
For more of Thelma's story, visit Veterans Voices of Canada at vetvoicecan.org. Lest we forget.
Hockey is back, and Play Alberta, Alberta's #1 sportsbook and official partner of the Edmonton Oilers, has you covered with bigger offers, boosted odds, live betting, player props, and more. New to Play Alberta? New players now receive $200 in free bets just for signing up. You already play? Get a $10 free bet for every $100 you bet every week all season long. Visit playalberta.ca and make your picks today. Bonus terms and conditions apply. Excavators, loaders, lifts, compaction equipment, and more. Find the XCMG construction equipment you need. Available for rental or sale at Japa Machinery Group. Japa, helping build Alberta from the ground up for 50 years. Visit japamachinery.com.
Find the perfect tractor for any job at Edmonton Kubota. Their massive selection of compact tractors has something for everyone, whether you're tackling small tasks or big projects. And right now, take advantage of 0% financing for up to 72 months. It's never been easier to get the power and reliability you need. Come down to Edmonton Kubota today and drive away with the tractor that's just right for you. Edmonton Kubota, where your perfect tractor awaits.
The Canada-wide clearance is on at GMC. Get a $7,500 cash credit on 2024 Sierra 1500 Crew Cab elevation models. With Sierra's 13.4-inch diagonal premium GMC infotainment system with Google built-in compatibility, available off-road package with hill descent control, plus an available 3-liter Duramax diesel engine, you can take the road less traveled and try new things, like fishing or whitewater rafting. I should have gone fishing. Ask your GMC dealer for details.
Edmonton's premium live music and party venue is
On the Rocks.
Check out Bingo Tunes on Monday. Perform on the best stage in town with karaoke on Wednesdays. Learn how to salsa with Salsa Rocks on Thursdays. And every weekend, OTR goes live.
With your favorite bands on the OTR stage and DJ Kenny K.
For everything that's going on at On the Rocks, give us a follow.
Facebook, Instagram, or Twitter.
At On the Rocks, EDM.
Eat well, party hard.
On the Rocks.
On the Rocks.
On the Rocks. Open every day till 2 a.m.
Hand delivering a hamper to a family in need fills everyone's hearts with joy. Be part of the Holiday Hamper program. Adopt a local family and see the difference your groceries and gifts make firsthand. Sign up today at holidayhamper.ca.
If you think about it, when you drive a Honda Pilot, you are a Honda Pilot. And Sherwood Honda has you cleared for takeoff. With 3 rows, every passenger gets a window seat and legroom while you jet to your next adventure. Bring in lots of extra baggage with no extra fees. Be the captain of your destiny on the drive. Be a Honda Pilot in your Honda Pilot. Now boarding at Sherwood Honda.
Take the pain out of airport parking with Park to Go, your first-class parking experience. Book self-serve and valet parking and save up to 30%. Book now with promo code RADIO-YEG. That's RADIO-YEG.
He's not just another pair of glasses. It's the Jason Gregor Show. Thanks for checking out Edmonton Sports 1440.
Presented by PlayAlberta.ca, Alberta's only regulated online gambling website.
$5.48. The off-air conversations are always I'm going to look so good in that jersey. Brownie James is number one fan. Very excited over here. Wanye Gretz to Wanye's World, brought to you by Action Electrical. Take action on your savings for both solar at residence, your home, or commercial building. ActionElectrical.net.
Today, or yesterday rather, was an impressive day in Nation Network history with the announcement that Jeff Marek was joining up with us. And there's been several people throughout the history of the nation that, when we were able to hire them on, blew my mind. The first of which, sitting across from me in the studio when Gregor joined on. That was obviously a very crazy day in the history of Oilers Nation. And also when Robin Brownlee joined. And Robin was actually before Gregor by about a couple months. And when I met Robin Brownlee the first time, I told him, I have a box at home, Brownlee, of articles you wrote when I was a little kid that I cut out because I was so mad at you for making fun of the Oilers or dissing them. And he couldn't believe it. And the next time I met with him, I brought him back and I pulled the shoebox out and showed him articles nestled among Spector articles ragging on the Oilers. This is before social media, so I used to cut them out and like reread them and become enraged. I'm wondering, Gregor, who you looked up to in sports media growing up that you were like, wow, these people, when I talked to them later on, when you began your career, like who did you feel were legit?
Oh, it was John Short, number one. Like that was the thrill of my life, was get to work for John. This first guy who hired me. So, so that was obviously very special. Another guy that, because when I was reading like Jim Matheson's Hockey World on Saturdays, like this was way early internet times, and Jim was unbelievable. Like that was where you got all the insider information from the whole league, and it would be and I loved it. It was all different stuff, and so, Jim would have been the other one, I think, for sure for me, because those were the kind of the two main guys. Like there's lots of other guys that I, obviously read lots of Terry Jones stuff, and, Brian Hall doing all those games and everything. And, Hall's a real big character, but for me, it was probably Maddie specifically, and working for John, and just, having listened to his show for so long, and then having the opportunity to kind of take over his time slot was a real massive thrill for me.
Was there anybody in the national scale that you kind of looked to, like Globe and Mail or ESPN?
Don Cherry probably would have been the national one, right? Like that. Because I remember it is like Don Cherry is the one time on Saturday night, like, you know what? We didn't have the TV on at dinner except for intermission. We didn't watch the game, but we knew because the games used to start at 6. So you knew intermission was because the games actually started at 6. So the intermission usually was always at 6:40. So my brother and whatever, my mom, all right, we can listen to Grapes. And so like my mom, like, because Don was great. Like I know people, they remember, at the end. And of course they took everything we said about they, and because if anybody who ever listened to John, he used the word they 1,000 times when talking about people. It wasn't nearly as bad as the old soft people wanted to suggest that it was, but easily offended, I guess, unfortunately. Now, Don wasn't near the end. He wasn't as good. And it's the one thing that I've always told myself. I think in this industry, if you stay too long, it becomes very noticeable. And so that's something I've always been like trying to be cognizant of. When it reaches a certain point, I'm like, you know what? Don't want to do it anymore, because I've seen others do it, and that's what you get remembered as, right? And I think honestly for Gretz, no, I'm just saying, like if you look at certain athletes, like the greats of the greats leave when they're their best because they don't want to go down. Now other guys, like no one looks at Corey Perry's career and says it's bad, but he's able to change roles. You can't really do that if you want to stay and be the main host. You got to stay sharp, and if you start losing that, it's just not the same, right? Like there's nowhere to hide. So that's like Don in his prime was unbelievable. The last few years, it wasn't as good for me. But his first few, not first few years, decades, it was, to me, must watch tune in TV, because he was a character and he was very proud Canadian, which was different. Like he would stand up, hey, Canada's great, and it was kind of like, yeah, we are, and there's not enough of that.
When was Grapes at his peak of his powers?
Well, you know what? At least I would say I guess for me, maybe even before, but basically late 80s all the way through the 90s up until probably before the lockout.
The Rock'em Sock'em when he rapped, remember that? And he had the trench coat on? That was something to be seen.
Like he was Don understood that he was a personality, and he wasn't afraid to have an opinion. But I just think people like the fact that Don would stand up for what he believed in, right? And he was He was pro-Canadian, and it's too bad that all of that looked upon negative for some people. Well, no, if you move to Canada, be pro-Canadian. You live here now. I mean, like that. Hey, I love our country. I've always said the one thing I don't like is we kind of give into a lot of standards and let them go, wow, geez, we want to accept everybody. You can accept everybody, but by our standards. That's just my own thought on certain things. We should be strict on, hey, this is how we are in Canada. If you want to move here, awesome, we'll accept you. But you got to understand this is how we like to do things.
I also think he coined the term "let's go," which is alive and well in 2024.
Did he?
I was talking about this at work the other day. He's the first guy I ever heard in that rap in Rock'em Sock'em. He was rapping "let's go."
Oh, maybe. But yeah, no, he was great.
What a contribution.
Oof. Oh, 100%. He was highly entertaining for a long, long time.
Yep.
On behalf of Wanye Gretz, Declan Kruger, as well as Kate the Great, I'm Jason Gregor. Please have a great weekend. Remember Remembrance Day. Take a moment at 11 o'clock and even beforehand to honor those who pay the ultimate sacrifice, whether they didn't make it back or made it back with a lot of trauma. It was a huge difference, allows us to live in this awesome country. So have a great weekend. Sports 1440 update brought to you by Legacy Heating and Cooling, home with no payments, no interest for 1 year on your furnace. LegacyHeating.ca.
This is the Sports 1440 update.
And for your Sports 1440 update, scores in the NHL right now, the Leafs lead the Red Wings 1-0 with 5:30 left to go in the first period. Penguins lead the Capitals by the same score in the same period, 14:22 left to go in that one. NBA scores around the league. Hornets lead the Pacers 42-37. The Pistons up on the Hawks 55-36. Magic up big on the Pelicans 56-32. Nets and Celtics in the first quarter see the Nets leading 18-10, and the Cavaliers with 4 minutes left to go in the first quarter leading the Golden State Warriors 27-10. WHL action tonight includes the Edmonton Oil Kings, who will be out in Medicine Hat versus the Tigers, a 7 p.m. puck drop for that one. Pandas hockey this weekend with a crosstown rival against McEwen, 7 p.m. tonight at the Downtown Community Arena, and a 2 p.m. puck drop tomorrow at the Drake. Golden Bears in action against McEwen this weekend as well, 7 p.m. at the Drake tonight, and another 7 p.m. puck drop tomorrow at the Downtown Community Arena. News in the NHL is LA Kings forward Tanner Jeannot has been suspended 3 games for an illegal check to the head against Vancouver Canucks forward Brock Besser. That's going to do it for us here on The Jason Gregor Show. Fox Sports Radio is up next, and the Saturday Sports Setup tomorrow at 9. I'm Declan Kruger, and this has been a Sports 1440 update.
It's Sports 1440, a Stingray radio station.